What is going on, Florida State family, Seminole Nation, and the 863 tribe? It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn truth. Good news. Well, I can't neither confirm nor deny, but the good news is we didn't play a game today. Now, whether or not we won the bye week, who knows? Most likely, we probably lost that too. What is going on, y'all? I want to talk about got this big Tennessee Georgia game on. A lot of playoff implications in this one. Kind of a quiet day in terms of college football. I mean, other than this game, I can't think of any major games that were on today. LSU in Florida was a pretty good one, and Georgia just scored. I don't trust Tennessee. I don't trust Tennessee to win this game. I think Georgia's going to win this game. I can't trust Tennessee, man, because they're Tennessee. So I can't trust them. Florida beat LSU, man. It looked like sticking with Billy Napier was the right choice. That is a blessing in disguise for Florida State fans. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That's a blessing in disguise. The fact that you are not having to compete with Florida this offseason as far as hiring coaches, because Florida's going to stick with Billy, is a blessing for Florida State. It really is. What's not a blessing is DJ Lagway. That guy's going to be a problem for the next 2 or 3 years. He just is. He's legit. Lagway's legit. I don't think Miami played today. I'm not 100% sure. Did Miami play? I don't know. I don't know if I don't think they did. I can't recall if they played today or whatever, or if they're playing like right now or something. I don't know. Don't know. But yeah, well, man, we're gonna. You know how we do on these Saturdays, man. Just random conversation. I mean, we're gonna talk some playoff stuff. I'll probably have a couple guests pop up in here whenever they, feel like showing their face, and we're just gonna talk ball, conference champions, and all those good things. And of course, as we know, FSU is in the midst of an offensive and defensive coordinator search. What's going on with that? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what whole lot of questions surrounding us. And I don't think a lot of those questions get answered, especially so there's a lot of talk about quarterback. And if you don't know, the Boston College Castellanos, I think that's his name, Thomas Castellanos or something, he recently hit the portal after being benched at Boston College. And everybody's like, well, Florida State should go pick him up. And I'm in the thought process of a couple things. Why do we want to get a guy that was benched at Boston College? Don't know. Number two, we don't even know the type of offense we're running next year. What makes you think that guy is even a fit? Let's wait and see who the offensive coordinator is, what this offense is going to look like before we just start naming portal quarterbacks to go after. And there's a whole different discussion about whether FSU should even go after a portal quarterback, or try to stick with the 3 you got on the roster and the one you may get and recruited in the cycle. So for me, it's like I see both sides of that argument. I think it's hard for Florida State not to go after another portal quarterback this offseason. But again, that all is going to depend on the offensive coordinator. And just a huge offseason for Florida State in terms of player, personnel, staff, like all of that stuff, man. All of that stuff. It's going to really determine, the team that you are going to see the next 2 games against Charleston Southern. And by the way, Florida's going to spank us, in case anybody's wondering. Florida's going to whoop us the last game. FSU will probably beat Charleston Southern. I'm holding out hope for that. I wouldn't put any money on it. But Florida's definitely going to whoop us. But that team you're going to see, that you've seen and that you're going to see these last 2 games, is going to be so drastically different top to bottom. Hard to tell what that team's going to look like next week. But hit the like button, guys. Share the video. Let everybody know we're live. Subscribe if you're new. And again, if you're not new, like, share, all that good stuff. We here on a Saturday night. The bar is open. I don't know what y'all drinking tonight, but tonight I decided to go with Buchanan's pineapple whiskey. So let me know what you're drinking in the chat. Again, the bar is open. Drinks are on me. And if you're not drinking, that's cool too. Sit back, chill, vibe with the boys, and listen to some ball talk. Georgia's up 14-10 on Tennessee. Tennessee needs something here. They started off up 10-0, and Georgia scored 14 straight. Tennessee needs to get something going right here as far as I'm concerned. I got a little bit of people in here, so we'll do a quick roll call, and then actually let me send out a message real quick. Okay, Jurg just hopped on. Let me bring Jurg in here. By the way, hit the like button. Let's bring Jurg from out the green room. What's going on?
You hear me? We all good?
I see the Puerto Rican flag in the back. Okay.
We I'm a fake Puerto Rican. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure this out. We're working on a new space. So.
Okay.
Did
Miami play today? Y'all had a bye week?
Yeah, we compete against ourselves this week. We chilling.
So. Okay, I didn't know that. I really didn't know that.
Yeah.
You said the next game y'all have is Wake though, right?
Yeah, we got Wake, and then I'll actually be at the Syracuse game on the 30th. I'm driving up there, so
that's what's up.
That'll be a good one.
Oh, so you driving way up the
damn near
upstate upstate New York. Yeah.
it's like from Palm Beach to Tampa for me. It's not that far, but just I never thought I'd ever drive to, like I'm born and raised
Palm Beach to Tampa. That's still about what 3 hours?
4. Well, it's 3 if I'm if I'm on one that day. You know what I'm saying? But it's typically like 4 hours.
So which game I know you said you was watching Oregon, Wisconsin. I heard Wisconsin's winning.
They just took the lead. This is one thing I don't think this whole season is going to be weird for college football, right? I honestly think it's going to take maybe 3 years for people to figure this out. Mm-hmm. But you're Oregon. We're talking about the University of Oregon. For the first time in the history of Oregon playing college football, they're playing football in Madison, Wisconsin for an evening kickoff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just like we saw Penn State go to LA in October. You know what I'm saying? Like that is different, bro. I think like
you had Cal in Tallahassee, bro.
You had
like Miami. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Miami was in Cal.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And this is conference play we're talking about.
Right.
So it's like 100%. when you're grading teams and looking at Louisville just lost a game playing at Stanford. Right? Like this was the first time they've ever you can correct me if I'm wrong. Have you ever heard of Louisville playing a West Coast game ever?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the thing, Louisville used to be what? Before they made the jump to the P4, well, P5 at the time, now P4, they were American or something. I think the first they were Conference USA. Yeah, they were Conference USA. I don't think they've ever seen the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken.
They might have hit Texas, maybe. So
maybe
it's just
maybe like they played Rice in Conference USA. Maybe they might have hit Texas as far west as they probably went.
Yeah, so it's just like, look, you go through conference expansion, and the SEC is the only one that kind of stayed regional, because Texas and Oklahoma to me are deep south. I'm pretty sure you feel the same way. Even though Missouri is more Midwest to me, they're still kind of like the furthest trip you're going to make in the SEC is from what? Gainesville to Arkansas. Is that like, you know what I'm
Oklahoma,
saying? Or,
Oklahoma,
yeah, so
Gainesville,
it's just
Oklahoma.
like, but you looking at a Big Ten team. Michigan can go on the USC had to go on the road to Michigan in September. You know, this is just. I guess what I'm just trying to say is these kids and these programs have never in the history of ball had to figure out how to travel coast to coast and still be a good football team. I think that's the thing, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That's something you don't experience till the pros. So yeah,
No.
I hear what you're
What
saying.
was it? Y'all went to y'all were in Dallas
We were in
for the
Dallas.
second time in my lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think y'all never played. No, you played the national championship in the Rose Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm. Against
So
already.
aside from that game, you went to Dallas to play Oklahoma State neutral site to start the year.
Well, you know, in the
You know what I
Bowden
mean?
era, I know they went to the big house and beat Michigan. That might have
Right.
been the furthest trip.
You know, but that's a track. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. It just feels weird, like because obviously Wisconsin, Oregon on a neutral field with a week to prepare. Are you really going to give it? Wisconsin wouldn't even be in the game. You know, they wouldn't even be in the game.
And the
Nothing.
Big Ten, I don't think I don't know if the Big Ten's finished.
Man, I think the Big Ten, if they were smart, um, they have no say in the South right now. They have none, and I think it'd be advantageous for a Florida State, a Miami. That's a market you got to tap in. I think I said that here when we first talked about this maybe a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is like I feel like there's probably more Big Ten fans in Florida than there are Florida State, Florida, Miami fans. To be completely honest with you,
Oh,
all
absolutely.
these
I
old
mean,
people, you know, like
Ohio State like has a stranglehold in South Florida,
rampant. I
and
saw when
they've
Michigan,
always had that though. They've always had
yeah,
that.
yeah, you know. So you got all these guys coming down here from up north. I don't know. I think that's got to be their plan, and that would stick a thorn in the SEC side right there. You know, Zay, what's up, boy? I see Zay in a minute. What's up, man?
KCS appreciate that $4.99. He didn't say nothing. He just wanted to show some love. I appreciate you, boss.
Big dog. Big dog. Big.
Clickety clank, the money goes into my piggy bank.
You know, I'll tell you.
Did you watch that UF LSU? Lagway's
So I,
legit, bro.
so I stopped watching it. I caught highlights. I do think Lagway is probably the best dual threat we've seen come out of high school in my life. I
Lagway's gonna
don't.
be a problem,
You,
bro.
have you ever seen it? Have you ever
Best
seen a dual
dual
guy?
best dual threat out of high school in our life.
What I'm saying is, true freshman coming. He looks like a refined passer. That's what's
So he's a
scary
better passer than Pryor probably ever was.
for sure. For sure. For
Like
sure.
Pryor's the first name that came to my mind when you said that. But yeah, he's a better
Mhm.
passer than Pryor, I think, ever was, which
Mhm.
is why he was a receiver in the league. Like,
Now he doesn't have Cam Newton's legs. I'm not
well,
saying that.
but Cam wasn't straight out of high school.
Right.
We didn't get
Right.
to, well, he was, but we didn't get to see Cam straight out of high school
Right.
because of a
Right.
guy named Tim
Right.
Tebow, right?
Right. Right. But you talk when you say a dual threat guy. What do we usually see? A kid spraying the ball around the place. He's got a
What year did Lamar start playing at Louisville? Did he start playing his freshman year? Or his redshirt freshman year?
yes, because he played as a true freshman. Then he had his Heisman. You know that year. He had his Heisman here that next year.
Okay, so yeah, I mean Lamar's got a case here. I think
Lamar,
Lagway's
Lamar,
huh?
Lamar was just a runner though.
That's true. Yeah, I think Lagway's a more advanced passer than Lamar was at
Boy,
that point. Yeah.
my boy, there's been 2 or 3 passes I've seen from Lagway this year that look like okay, that you could translate that to
Bro,
NFL tape right now.
he had the one where the dude was draped on his shoulder and he still and put nice touch on it, like, and I was like, wow, okay. Okay.
He's. I'll give it. You know what? And this is. Remember when we was talking a few weeks ago about like, kind of like what Norvell should do and stuff like that, and get Chroma Hulk out there so you could give somebody some hope. DJ Lagway just saved Billy Napier's job. Like there's no,
Yeah, for sure.
you know what I'm saying? Billy's like, all right, if I'm going down, y'all got to see this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all's got to see this.
Same game, though, different convo.
Yeah.
Brian Kelly, what you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, nah.
How,
You
how
got
long
you got to
Kobe
ask
been?
Mike on that one, but he gone. He got to be gone.
You think so?
He got to be gone. He LSU was a 4-loss team last year, right?
Were they?
I'm 90% sure they were. So
Where's
you're
Terrence?
telling me that you had a Heisman winning quarterback, a first round receiver, two first round offensive,
two first round receivers.
two first round receivers.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm sorry, because the kid Lacey they got at receiver looks like a first rounder too.
Right.
So you might as well call it 3.
Right, call it 3. You might as well say it's 3. Yeah.
Right. Nussmeier's going to be an NFL guy. I don't know what round he's going to go in, but you got Nussmeier. You got these twin offensive tackles that are going to be probably top 15 picks.
Yeah.
And you losing 8 games in 2 years.
Lost to USC, who is not good. That's a whole nother conversation we can have about USC. But
come on,
yeah, Brian Kelly's got it. Yeah.
The standard's too high. At least to me. I'm not an LSU fan, but if I'm an LSU fan, like
the thing is, I think Kelly's a good coach. I just never thought he was a fit there, though.
Yeah.
I never, even when I was like, I don't know if Kelly fits. Baton Rouge,
Tennessee,
Louisiana, bro.
I'm sorry, but Tennessee just broke one.
Yes, I see it.
Yeah,
they've been running the ball actually pretty well.
Hey,
Georgia, talk about this game?
Georgia's not. They're not what you think they are. I'm sorry, like
offensively, absolutely not. Well, I mean, Beck is exactly what I thought he was.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. The defense
but this isn't
taking a step back though, too.
Yeah, they don't. The transfer portal has made it so that they don't have that 27-man rotation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They're just throwing dudes out there. So, I think Kirby kind of came from that Nick Saban building kind of tree. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it's going to work like that for much longer. I just don't. I think the game can change on it. Look at that. They got base blocked out of the – I mean, that wasn't even a gap play. They just base blocked him out of the hole. It's crazy. A Georgia football team that can't beat one-on-ones at the point of attack. Have you ever heard of that? When's the last time you heard of that?
Not in recent times, no.
You know what I mean?
So what do you think? You think Kirby? What do you think Kirby needs to do? Obviously, Kirby's not going anywhere, right? But what does he need to do? Did he just strike? Did he just get lucky with Stetson Bennett, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Because before that, you had Jake Fromm's and all that, and we saw how Kirby's quarterback room was before that, and it wasn't great. Then you get Stetson Bennett.
Kirby's mishandled every quarterback he's had, right?
Except Stetson Bennett, yeah.
And Bennett basically had to prove the whole world wrong to get them to pay attention to him, So yeah, I'm not personally. I don't know. I think Kirby has to do some soul searching. They lost the OC to the Ravens 2 years ago. Now it's gonna be this is their second season without him. Offense is taking a step back. I don't like Carson Beck at all. But I think this little Georgia run is just about over. That's just my opinion. I think it's done. I could be wrong.
So you're gonna look more like Mark Rick's Georgia than the next coming of Saban's Bama.
Yeah, I mean, the portal. If you balance it out well, it affords you the opportunity to quickly make up for deficiencies, and it also affords, you know, a bunch of teams who could not win on National Signing Day to have a chance at getting guys that could really bolster their roster, right? So they're bolstering their roster with kids who were sitting at Georgia for 2 years or Bama for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're looking at, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the PFF rankings, Adrian, but there's the safety at Minnesota, one
Oh,
of the
the
best
freshman.
safeties. Yeah, um,
Yeah, I
that's
know
the
you're
perfect.
talking about.
Yeah, but that's the perfect example. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure he. I'm not gonna say why he looks like the type, but you know why he looks like the type that's gonna stay at Minnesota.
Right.
But he is a great he's a great example of, oh, okay, I went to Minnesota and I showed y'all that I'm a top 10 safety in the country, and here comes, and if he hit the market, Miami would be on the phone right now. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, go ahead, take this little $2 million real quick since you like that, you know. And I just think it makes it harder for somebody like Kirby to keep up. That's
Do you
just
think he would leave Minnesota though?
what's your motivation? Like, is your motivation to play for a national team, or is your motivation to enjoy playing college football where you've always dreamed of playing it, which may be Minnesota or maybe University of Iowa? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
I love the portal, man. We were I was talking to my buddy about like potential quarterbacks that hit the portal. And if you've been paying attention, there's a quarterback at Tulane right now. He's balling. He's absolutely balling as a freshman, you know? And you look at that kid, again, a relative nobody a year ago. He has a chance to move up and play some meaningful football instead of being stuck at Tulane. And I think that's pretty dope, you know? I think that's really, really dope for kids like that.
Well, you bring up an interesting conversation.
Hmm.
How with the transfer portal? So this is interesting to me because I almost feel like it benefits these. I think it benefits the elite kids even more so. But I'll just bounce this off you and see what you think.
Hmm.
Why do I go to Georgia or wherever, Ohio State, and sit? Or even if I don't sit, why do I go to Ohio State and I'm starting in the Big Ten against that competition when I can go to Tulane or Memphis, get immediate snaps against lesser comp, get the feel for college football, and then do a second recruiting cycle and get the bag while I'm at it? Does it
So
really make sense to go to Georgia off the rip?
I don't see why. If I was mentoring a kid right now, right? I'll use Ohio State as an example, right? Ohio State put out Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, and they got all these great receivers, right? Last class, Ohio State takes two high-profile kids at each position. Obviously, Jeremiah Smith, who we'll get this out the way for today's conversation, as a true freshman, looks like he could be the best wide receiver in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they take the quarterback, Aaron Noland, out of Georgia, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Noland was a kid that we wanted at Miami for sure. They said it was down to Ohio State and Miami, but that's neither here nor there. But this is just an example. If I'm Aaron Norland, I go to Ohio State, who brings in Will Howard, right? There's no way I was going to play ball. If I go to Miami, I go to Miami, who brings in Cam Ward. There's no way I'm going to play ball. How many years is Nolan going to have to wait, Adrian, for somebody to remember he's good at football? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like realistically, we're gonna wait. We'll probably wait another 2 years to see that kid take a meaningful snap. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm Aaron Noland, I go look at one of these air raid guys at Texas State or some shit like that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Hey, let me show y'all I can spin it.
Let me
You
go
know what I
play
mean?
at a lower level. I'm still gonna get that development. The game's eventually still gonna slow down for me because I'm still playing Division 1 football
Come on.
instead of going to, like you're saying, Ohio State, and either I'm sitting for a couple years, or even if they
Come
thrust
on.
me out there, the game's too fast for me at that level. So I'm looking like, like I don't belong right at the moment. I don't know, man.
So
That's an interesting dynamic.
I text you about this guy while I was at the FAU game, CJ Hurd, only because I know he's the guy you guys dropped off the class, right?
Right.
And CJ ended up being FAU's top rated recruit, right? So if you go to FAU game, I was at FAU versus USF. All you heard was number one CJ Hurd, number one CJ Hurd, number one CJ Hurd, over and over and over again, right? CJ Hurd's going to have a PFF grade. CJ Hurd's going to have, the good and the bad out there on tape. And there's no way, if he didn't want to, he can't go hit the portal and go somewhere else and say, hey, we'll pay you and we'll play you because I know exactly who you're going to be on Saturdays now. You know what I mean? And that to me I think that's invaluable. I think it's invaluable. We got to get out of this antiquated way of thinking.
Right, Antoine, I hear you. Like Jeremiah Smith, obviously, Ryan Williams, those guys were going to be guys no matter where they went.
Wherever they went.
I'm more so talking about these quarterbacks because quarterback is a different position than some of these other skill positions. Like,
yeah.
we like Lagway's looking pretty good, but he's also faced some injuries. But can you imagine if Lagway would have went to a Texas State? The bag he would demand in this upcoming transfer portal, because he would have started day one, and he probably throws for 3,000 plus yards and 30 touchdowns as a freshman at Texas State. And I don't know who Texas State quarterback is. That's just the example I'm using.
Just hyperbole, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
The bag he commands in the transfer portal this upcoming season is ridiculous because he would have been that guy. And so I'm really looking at the quarterbacks, not so much the skill guys, though there are probably some skill guys who could also do the same thing.
The thing about being a quarterback is there's only one of them on the field. We all know that, right? And there is generally a development timetable that has to be followed, right? And that's only because you need repetition to learn how to play the game.
So
this is not high school.
I don't want to cut you off, but your favorite quarterback, I think, is a perfect example of what I'm saying, bro. Shadur went to Jackson State. Shadur has not sat behind a person since he's been in college, but he went to Jackson State. Now we know the HBCU level ain't the same level, but he went there and he got the feel for the game. So by the time he got to Division 1, Power 5, Power 4 level, yes, there was probably an adjustment of speed for him, but he understood the game already.
Right.
Like I think Shadur, Shadur's a perfect example of what I'm trying to say.
But Cam Ward did the same thing, right?
Well,
he goes to Cardinal Ward.
Yeah.
And you now say, and it comes down to repetition, right? Cam Ward has, let's say he had 2 years playing at Incarnate Ward. They played an air raid system. What's that, Adrian? Probably 600 dropbacks in 2 years in live ball. You know what I'm saying? So you got 600 plays in 2 years playing live football. Then you go to Washington State and you get another, say, 750 in 2 years, right?
Because it's
so now here you are. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You just, why am I waiting? You know what I mean? I would rather somebody see that my kid plays. That's all. That's all.
It's definitely, if you're, like you said, if you're like mentoring or advising some of these young quarterbacks, I would almost tell them like, ooh, incomplete. Georgia almost scored there. I would almost tell them though, don't even don't bank on the big offer because the big offer is going to come, man. Go to somewhere where you can play. And that means you go play at Tulsa for a year or two. That's fine.
Yep. I was gonna say, Alo, look at the kid at New Mexico, Pavi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pavi is a JUCO kid that gets a shot, goes to New Mexico State, perfect triple option quarterback for whatever reason. That's just his thing, right? But he goes to New Mexico State, balls out at New Mexico State, and now he's at Vandy, probably got a little NIL bag, you know what I mean? But somebody at Vandy saw that this kid could actually play, you know, and he had a chance to capitalize off of it. And these other kids they're not getting the opportunity, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I said, man, like at Florida State right now with Luke, y'all better play him. You know what I'm saying? Y'all better play him because somebody's gonna put that there. Huh?
I hear what you're saying. In Luke's situation, I wouldn't play him these last two games. I would say that FSU's in a different situation. You're going to have a new OC. Luke might not even fit what this guy wants to do, whoever that person is.
Sure.
I would what am I trying to say here? Preferably Luke Kromenhoek would be the starter next year. But that all depends on the OC, right? But my thing is, I don't even want Luke playing the last two games. Everything around him is so garbage. I don't know. I feel like that shit could break him. I don't even want him to play the next 2 years, if I'm being quite honest with you. Watch film, bro. Get in the weight room. Get ready for the next season. Last thing I need for him to do is go out there and get his ankle rolled up on or something. And an entire offseason of development, you know.
Yeah.
But my point is we can't block. So, like, I'd rather not play him.
Do you – so you mentioned the new OC talk. I'm going to tell you my thought on it. This is just me being how I view college football being structured, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's all about relationships, and that's what we've been told our whole lives, right? That this is a relationship-driven business, da-da-da-da-da. If Mike Norvell rolls out something that isn't the best group of recruiters in the state of Florida that money can buy, he should probably be fired.
Well, I don't know if you want, and I don't know where Terrence is. The man said he was coming on, but we're 30 minutes in and he ain't showed up, or 40 minutes in, whatever. Yeah. But so me and Terrence talked about that last week, though. I said at this point, okay. So first of all, Florida State surprised me that they fired both offensive coordinators. I didn't even think that. I didn't think they were going to do that. Now, to me, that does send a message. If you're going to fire both coordinators, in my opinion, you're sending a message that the next hire isn't going to be some. And this isn't disrespect to upcoming coaches, but it's got to be a name. It can't be the next upcoming coach from Jackson State.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got to be – this guy has to have a name. This guy has to bring, like you're saying, some cachet. He's got to be able to go to any living room in the state of Florida and say, come play in my offense or defense, right?
Right.
I think you have to do that, and I agree with you. If he's just going to go hire Mitch Crumbuck from Marshall, well, then we're wasting our time. You just wasted your time.
Yeah.
You were better off keeping Adam Fuller or Alex Atkins on the staff. You just wasted everybody's time with that firing, in my opinion.
Yep. I just the only way I think you get away with an up and coming guy as a coordinator is if you get all the experience behind him, right? Like, it'd be the equivalent of Georgia right now has ABC dude DC, but Will Muschamp is the co-DC. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's the only way I feel like you can get away with getting an up-and-comer at Florida State. But I think the biggest issue isn't X's and O's, right? It's Jimmy's and Joe's. You
Yeah,
looking at it on the
absolutely.
field right now,
It's
you
no,
know.
that's a
So
fact.
you got it. And then I don't know how much Norvell has say over who's in that front office or not, or who handles that. But I'd even look at him sideways because to me, you basically try to gift wrap me Uyagalele. And maybe I listened to you when I shouldn't have, but he was not a fit for the system, right?
See, and this is so. I had this conversation with Florida State fans. Like I don't, and maybe I'm just naive to this, or I don't understand how this works.
Sure.
But what the hell did Mike? You're an offensive guy. Like, can you imagine someone telling Jimbo to take somebody? Like, no, Jimbo's fucking
Yeah.
gonna know exactly who he's taking. Like, so this
Yeah.
notion that
True.
somebody
True.
sold Mike a bill of goods on DJ, I don't believe that for a second.
Sure.
I think Mike
Sure.
wanted DJ. Like, I think that's what it was. So the buck stops with Mike
I don't.
Norvell at the end of the day.
Well, then you have to peel back and say, well, if you're not going to evaluate the talent, then I am, right? Because you don't see. I think we've talked, and I'm not jumping. It's just whatever. I haven't talked to you in a minute,
Yeah,
but
we just chopping it up about whatever. Go ahead.
yeah, but you don't see the correlation in your recruits and talent identification having any type of marriage. You know what I mean? The one thing that and this is I don't want to. This is just an example. I'll use the kid at Minnesota as an example. That coach took a 3-star recruit and started him. You know what I'm saying? He started him, and he's got one of the best safeties in the country as a true freshman, right?
Mm-hmm.
That right there is talent identification. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know anything about how Minnesota football goes with Fleck, he's not playing a lot of freshmen up there. He found him one. You know what I'm saying? So like, where is your 3-star that jumped in, or where's even your 4 or 5-star that jumped in and really exceeded expectation? You know what I'm saying? The point being is like, if that's what your struggle is right now, dog, you probably need to fix that. And that's why I said, how does he? I don't know how that communication structure works, right? But like in the NFL, you have some GMs that make all the picks exclusively, and then you have some GMs that rely on the coach to make the pick, right? To me, you need a GM that has a background in talent identification to make them picks for you. You get what I'm saying? And start pushing that in the right direction on top of the recruit stuff.
So Norvell is in my opinion, and just from what I view, right? Mike Norvell, I think one of his biggest issues, he still has a Memphis mentality. And what I mean by Memphis mentality, at Memphis, there's no expectations. So I can be good every 2 to 3 to 4 years because I have time to build that team. See, at places like Florida State, there's expectations. You can't recruit a bunch of guys that need 3 and 4 years to finally get good. You can do that at Memphis. At FSU, you have to recruit instant impact guys. But his problem, in my opinion, is he thinks I just need guys that want to be here and I can make them something. Well, that ain't the case. And
you need dudes that can ball.
You need dudes that can play. And you need dudes that can play right now.
Yeah. We're going through something. I guess without saying too much, professionally, just some growth stuff for my personal growth, whatever, at the office. But I'm trying to teach my teammates or the people that work for me that it's really not about how comfortable you feel being around somebody, right? Like, just because you like the person and they're a good person, they could be the best person on earth, right? They could, at a drop of a dime, come into work, you know what I'm saying, overtime or not, just to help out, right? But at the end of the day, if they're not good, then they can't be there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the rah-rah, like, oh, we're a team, we love each other, whatever, is all good until you can't complete a forward pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how it goes. I remember saying that about Tim Tebow when he went to the league, and you hear all these Florida fans, oh, man, Tim is such a great leader. He's a faith-based guy, and he could lead men and da 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 da. Hey man, I'm trying to get to my second contract, and his off-target percentage is 27.6. What the fuck that got to do? You know what I'm saying? What the fuck that got to? So you gonna throw it to me 4 times and it might get there 3 times? Nah, dog. I don't care. I don't care who you believe in. You know what I'm saying? That's just real facts. So it's like the same thing has to be with when you're going out and recruiting kids. Like that's why coaches take risk on character kids all the time, because I don't care what you say. 4'3" don't grow on trees. Neither does 6'6" with long arms and quick
Right.
twitch fibers and hips. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You better go find them. You better go find them. Better go find them. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's gonna be an interesting thing for y'all, bro. Is seeing how, because I saw that report like, oh, there's a lot of interest. Okay, I'm shit. If I was coaching, I might throw my little, you know what I'm saying? Might. What do we talk about interest?
Yeah. Well, offensively, in my opinion, it's really just it's gonna depend on if Mike's. You'll know by
Yeah.
the whatever coordinator they hire, you'll know, because no, I don't believe a coordinator that we need is coming unless Norvell is giving up play calling.
Well, so what do you think you need?
A different voice.
Okay. Okay. But I mean schematically, because if it's me talking
I don't think
and
Mike's X's and O's are bad.
right.
I think a lot of what you saw from this year was just a poor talent evaluation. Guys just couldn't execute what needed to be run.
Right.
But again, like if that's the case, then in my opinion, it didn't make sense to fire the offensive coordinator. You could have
Right.
kept him, demoted him, and brought in, I don't know, did something. Like if we're just gonna hire a guy, but Mike's still gonna be the head of the offense, then I don't
Yeah.
really understand that move.
Right.
That's why I think he may be giving up the offensive play calling duties and maybe just get a different voice and a different vision on offense. And a lot of people have been wanting Mike Norvell to take a more, you know, like we like to call it the CEO approach, where let your
Mhm.
coordinators coach and you focus on other things in the program. Focus on
Sure.
closing some of these recruiting battles. Focus on, these things that the head coach, should be doing at big
You want
time
me to
football.
I'll tell you what my 2 cents are is you remember Sean McVay when he went to the Rams,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously Sean McVay was the hot shot, best young coaching candidate at the time. Everybody loved him. Do you remember who his defensive coordinator was? You remember that? His defensive coordinator was Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips had 60 years of NFL football in him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The point being is I think he needs somebody. Not to when you say new voice, obviously nobody can really get away from the what you want to call it, the culture that the head coach is trying to instill. Like it's still his. But
Right.
he needs somebody who can show him at a big time program level how it's actually supposed to be done, because that's what Wade Phillips did for McVay. He did everything, not just from calling the defense, but he showed him how to prepare like an old school NFL coach. You get what I'm saying? Like
Well,
it,
that's you said something valuable there. I've been saying Mike needs to definitely get some NFL guys in his staff.
yeah, probably.
I think Sertan was a big deal. I'm not even
Mhm.
sure if he's a coach here next year.
Which is crazy.
Well, he's drawing interest from his alma mater, maybe to be a head coach there, and then, I mean,
Really.
again, when you switch offensive and defensive coordinators, I mean, Sertan got to want to work for this next guy you hire. So
This is true. Yeah, this is true.
so I don't know. We don't know what's gonna go on in that situation. So
Hmm.
that's why I think outside opinion from you. What do you think is more
Mhm.
important, the defensive coordinator hire or the offensive coordinator hire?
Am I basing it off of what I saw on the field this year, or are you talking about in principle?
I mean, however you want to view it, just what do you think is more important? Based off what you
Um,
saw or how you would build a team, whatever.
I would say, I would say Norvell getting an OC is the most important thing, only because I think the OC is going to define what the rest of the program looks like, considering he'd be letting something go. You get what I'm saying?
Mm,
So if you're taking football serious, right? If you're Florida State football and you're taking football serious, and I hire a coordinator, let's just I mean, this guy, he's at the Bucks OC right now, was the Kentucky OC the year prior, right? But a guy like that, a guy that draws interest from the NFL, a guy that is highly thought of, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
if you're really gonna hire an OC, I need you to hire one of them, right? Because that to me means you mean business from a football standpoint. You get what I'm saying? Um, it's like Saban hiring a Bill O'Brien or a Lane Kiffin, or like, Saban wasn't bullshitting when he wrote out a hire. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I need something like that from you, bro. If I was you, that's what I'd be looking for. You know what I mean? Don't you can't just pick a guy. Like, I know you mentioned Brendan Marion and stuff like that. You can't go Brendan Marion. You can't do that shit. You know it wouldn't be fitting for the moment.
You
My
don't think
opinion.
so?
Nah, man. Like, I need somebody when he walk in that room, dog. He going. You know how John Gruden does that quarterback camp shit. You remember he did that?
Yeah.
He walked up there. All right, rewrite the play. X right green go, spider two Y Montana. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Like, I need a guy who can walk into a room and make me feel stupid and then push me to be something awesome. You know what I mean? And I don't think, not that Brendan Marion's a bad coach, but like, there needs to be a guy that has that kind of aura to him, bro. I don't know how to explain it, but that's got to be there.
Okay.
That's definitely
Interesting.
got to be there. You can't, like, because what are you going to do as a DC? What about a DC could transform the Florida State program right now? You know what I mean?
What man? Look, I would take. I don't know. Just my vision
Adrian,
of it.
we could put you at DC right now. We're gonna line up flat man, okay? We're gonna have a 7 technique and a 9 technique, and everybody's gonna run until they tire. And you'll be a solid defense at Florida State. You get what I'm saying? We can do that right now. We can line it up, man, across the board, and y'all will be a solid defense at Florida State, right?
Well, shit, the shit
On
didn't work for
offense, though,
Fuller.
but he's ass. But he got Pat as a stand-up backer with both of his feet parallel to perpendicular to the line of scrimmage,
You
and
know.
fucking Marvin
You know.
Jones playing a
Uh,
technique on the opposite
so
side.
I'm so
Like,
happy you. I'm so happy you said that because I've only been saying all year that Patrick Payton's been used being like, and there's things he definitely needs to work on, but Pat's been being used so piss poor this year.
it's
Everybody keeps
ugly.
telling me. Everybody keeps telling me, "Oh, Pat sucks." He's been. Go watch how he's being used.
It's
Like you just
ugly,
said, they
bro.
they are dropping him like on this spy almost routinely. Like he's
Right,
spying the quarterback. Like
right.
you say, like he's perpendicular with the line of scrimmage. It's like, what are we,
Yeah,
bro? I don't know.
dog,
Yeah, I
dog.
don't know,
If you talk about Pat Payton, you know where Pat Payton grew up. You know the answer. He grew up in Miami, Florida. Do you think he ever played two gap football in his fucking life? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, boy. If you don't
Pat
run
was
your ass,
told
boy,
Pat was told to go get the quarterback.
Come on, boy. Hey, contain. Stay in the C gap. Stay in the D gap. Get back there.
Yeah.
That's all. Why are we trying to change them? You
I
know what I'm
I
saying?
don't
Like,
know. That's what I've been saying all year. I don't know what they're doing with them, but
but I'm just saying, like, you, like I said, a DC to me is not. Y'all will figure that out easy. You know, I would really be
I hope
more
so.
concerned with, you know what I'm saying? Do you have the right? Just NFL. Just I need a guy who can. I need a guy who can tell Norvell, fuck you if you try to encroach on me, because I'll be in the NFL next week. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, that's the type of hire you need right there, dog.
I hear that.
You know,
I
like,
hear
oh,
that.
I don't like your game plan this week. That's fine because the Buffalo Bills would like it. The fuck, you know what I'm saying? I'm out of here. Ain't trying to do none of that baby ass college shit, man.
Let's switch gears because I don't want to talk about this miserable football team anymore. We didn't
Oh
play
sure,
today,
bro.
so I don't want to be pissed. You
Me
might be
neither.
enjoying this, but I don't. What I do want to switch to though is I mean, you talked about a little earlier in the group chat, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the Colorado fans are saying, "Hey, look at
Yeah,
y'all! Y'all were talking shit. Look at us. Speak on that,
pitiful.
Jared. What do we? First of
You,
all,
you can I give a life? Can I give a life lesson real quick?
go ahead.
A life lesson is criticism of anybody is not an immediate admission of or proof that you want somebody to do poorly,
Yeah,
right? You guys, I'll sit here whether it's in this chat or on X, and I'm not in this chat every day. You can tell me about your fans and the temperament of the group, but that on X, on Facebook, every day, these kids are so soft. These kids can't be coached. Y'all say that shit every day. And the second we criticize an action by a grown ass man you've never known, we're the bad guy.
have no affiliation to.
It's nothing personal. It's the same way I talk about these kids. Oh man, these kids can't take nothing. You can't take nothing if you mad at me for telling y'all that I think Dion was wrong for cutting 70 kids.
Right.
You know what, Adrian? One of them kids, bro. One of them DNs he cut went to Arizona last year when Arizona won 10 games, whatever it was. He had 11 sacks at Arizona. 11 sacks for kids that they said, oh man, they was on an 0 and whatever team. They shouldn't even be on the field. He had 11 sacks at Arizona. Who on Colorado last year had 11 sacks, Adrian? Nobody. So like, let's just I'm just saying let's just call it what it was. Y'all acted like this man, like we was just trying to tell y'all that it did not look like he knew what he was doing, and it didn't. It took a year for it to settle. You know what I'm saying? And thankfully this year, because we've talked about that, we talked about it during the North Dakota State game, right? Live during the North Dakota State game. When are they going to run the football? We were saying that all through the North Dakota State game.
When they were struggling early in the season, they refused to run the ball. It's
We
it's
and we
so,
were
it's so coincidental
go
how they
ahead.
started running the ball and the defense starting getting better.
Wow.
Like that's
So
amazing.
and it's all and now it's hold up. Oh, y'all was talking all that shit. Nah, man. Just like we would hold Dion accountable the same way I'd hold Todd Bowles accountable on Sundays, the same way I would hold Lance Gentry accountable for Miami, right? But y'all, okay, we're wrong because it's Dion. That's stupid logic. Now, talking about football, great job. I think what have they rattled off? Five? Is it five straight, Adrian? Six straight that they won, or something
Something
like
like that.
that?
Yeah.
Since losing to Kansas State, so they've rattled off six straight. They're headed in the right direction. Um, I think the BYU game is going to be interesting. I haven't watched a lot of BYU personally. This is assuming they win out, right?
Me neither.
Because they got Kansas is no joke.
Well, I don't even think
Um,
Do they have to win out to make it, or they
Yeah,
already?
they said they have to win out. They have to win out to get into the. Well, I think Kansas State lost today. Hold on. If Kansas State lost, then they might not have to win out to make the conference game, but they have
Okay.
to win the conference to lock in a spot in the CFP.
Definitely got
Um,
to do that. Yeah.
yeah, hold on. Let me just check while we're here. Um, I feel like Kansas State. Yeah, Kansas State's down 10 to Arizona State right now. So if they lose, then Colorado won't have to win out. They probably just have to win one game. But
Okay.
here's the point, right? Um, the BYU game should be a good game. Should absolutely be a good game. Um, with all that said, did Prime prove anybody wrong? He probably did. Um, somebody tried to say that I said Colorado would win 4 games this year. I said that last year. But I
Mhm.
did say I knew there were 4 games they should win this year. You'd have to wait to see the product on the field to pick the other 8, and luckily the product's improved, right? Um, I think Travis Hunter's legit. I know you've heard me say a million times. I think Shador about as good as any quarterback prospect I've seen. I don't know why there's any type of. I don't like the slander he's getting right now. Like you see these little draft guru assholes, like, oh, he thinks he's athletic like his daddy, but he's really not. Like, shut the fuck up.
His
Like, that
game
has
isn't
nothing.
even that. Why would they even bring that up? He doesn't even play the game
Some
that way. So what are they talking
some
about?
idiot. I wish I could send it to you. I have to find it, but some idiot was like, oh, he plays off his back foot because he thinks he's athletic like his dad or some shit. Like, boy, if you'll get the fuck out, like, you know what I'm saying? That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But I think Shador is legit, and I think, when you have a first round top 5 top pick top quarterback, you can't win 10 games in the Big 12. Like
I think we
you
said
should.
it we said that at the beginning of the year. We said, and look who showed up for the Colorado conversation.
Of course you did.
But
Nope.
we said at the beginning of the year, we said the Big 12's wide open. Like, I don't know how many games Colorado's going to win,
Sure.
but they're going to be right in the mix. Like, we said that.
Sure. 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 And he I think we also said that by far he was the best quarterback on the field in any game that he played this year.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we said that too.
I
So
thought that Arizona kid would be better, but he hasn't had the same season that he had
yeah,
last year.
something's wrong with the coordinator,
Yeah.
because there's no reason for a kid to regress like that. He's one that should have taken the money. He should have taken the money and went to Washington. He's stupid as hell. Him and
Yeah.
McMillan, I'd have been on the
Yep.
first thing smoking to Washington. But
Yep. Should have followed his coach. Yep.
yeah, But I'll say this: when you talk about the bigger picture with CU right now, it's will they or will they not make it to the playoff, right? And I will say that when it comes to the playoffs, it becomes now a conversation about your matchup. So
Oh,
CU
yeah.
would host,
So,
you know.
yeah.
So you be who CU hosting? Probably one of the first SEC teams out. You know what I'm saying? If CU gets in, is CU going to have the personnel to match up with some of the big boys in college football from a physicality standpoint? Who knows? You know, somebody mentioned the Warren Sapp hire. I mean, my opinion's mixed. Warren's probably my favorite football player of all time, but um, how much can you really do in 10 months? Maybe has he been there for 10 months now? You know,
I don't know when they
um,
hired him, but I mean, you can't deny that the defense has played a lot better.
sure, sure, again, the defense is now not looking at, okay, Shador gets out there and we do. Remember what they was doing? Bubble screen, 3rd and long. Shador find somebody, right?
Yeah.
Now it's run the football, even if it's 2 yards. Run the football again, 2 yards. Okay, now minutes elapsed. Now it's starting short. Shador converts, and we're not back on the field. So I think there's a lot that goes into it. But yes, the defense has improved. But I'd say the personnel is also a lot better than last year too. So I don't know if it's
Yeah,
just the coaching.
I think
That's my whole point.
I think Dion has definitely made a lot of people eat their words. To be clear,
Sure,
there's a lot of people who said a lot of negative things about Dion.
sure.
I want to be clear about my stance on Dion. I was just not a fan of the way he built the roster. That's the only thing I ever criticized. The only
That's
thing.
all we were saying.
I've
That's
always
all we
said
were saying.
I always said I love this quarterback, and I was calling Travis Hunter generational. I thought he was a better better receiver than a corner once he got to college. But I only ever criticized the way he built the roster, and I did criticize a lot of things they did on social media. I thought some of the social media stuff they did was kind of like, especially when Deion was going back and forth in the offseason with people on social media. I was like, bro, you're the head coach. You're Deion Sanders. You don't need to do that. That's
What's
it.
the point? Yep.
That's it.
Yep. Yep.
I remember saying Colorado was a great job for him to take. Everything from the jerseys to like, we all loved when he got that job. It's just when, like you said, you cut 70 players off of a college roster. I was like, whoa. What are we doing here? Granted, in the second year,
listen, Adrian, if it was Dion, I
or
think
any coach.
But you remember when Mel Tucker got in?
He did that his first year at Michigan State. Something similar,
he didn't
not
cut
to that extent.
Right. Yeah, he didn't cut. Mel Tucker took 40 kids, and that's when he found Kenneth Walker from Wake Forest, which is, one of the best transfer portal additions, I think. Period.
Sure.
That's not Joe Burrow. I've never seen, not to get off topic, but he's the only running back I've ever seen get a coach paid $100 million. Y'all think about that. He was so good at playing running back. He got Mel Tucker a $100 million contract at MSU, right? But you're hitting the nail on the head. Is the conversations that we were having as football fans,
right,
was just about the construction of the roster. Lamonius Craig went on to be a contributor on that Arizona team. You can't tell me you couldn't use a contributor at like a legit college level starter. You can't tell me you couldn't have used it. You know what I'm saying? Like the bigger issue, as you know, Adrian, wasn't even the fact that he was doing it, is that we have people talking to us like we're done, right? For thinking that there's kids on that roster that could bring value to the program. You get what I'm saying? So let's just call it what it is. But I think they're in a good position. Obviously, I'm curious to see the BYU game. Like BYU's always got like some 24, 28-year-old, you know what I'm saying? The boy's fresh off a mission, finally got to play college football. So it should be a hard-nosed football game.
No, they got that Jewish boy this year.
Which is transfer portal era football, right? Transfer portal era. You got a Jewish kid quarterbacking
at BYU,
religious school in college football. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy.
How old is he though?
Go ahead, Terrence. I want to hear your thoughts on Colorado too, though. I mean,
they got a good win. I mean,
no, not just the win, man. We're talking about the season as a whole. Look at you trying to be all nonchalant about the shit.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. We're talking about the entire season.
So I forgot this is a safe place.
That's between you and that's between y'all.
You don't got to have it here. I'll let you know right now. All right.
I mean, I had expectations for the season to go a lot better than you guys did. Just based upon my thoughts on Shedeur, and I mean, we had pretty similar thoughts on Shedeur and Travis. I'm not saying. Just let me finish.
There's no way you watched the first game of the season and said, well, they would be here right now. There's no way you watched the Nebraska game and said, well, they would be here right now. They've definitely changed and got better, but they had a lot of things they had to work through. And it started with when they decided, you know what? Let's actually run the football.
And I think they were trying to do that. They just had the wrong personnel in there. We talked about that.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why Charlie.
I don't know what. but we all knew it was a personnel problem going on. Like running back, and I get, no, I don't get it. I ain't even pretend like I get why he would have started. But at the end of the day, it came down to putting the right players on the field, and like you got to admit, like the receivers there, man, scare the shit out of people.
They have very good receivers.
Like it that opens up some running lanes, man. It really does. The offensive line started to hold.
This is the problem. But this was the problem, T, right? And it goes to some of the issues that, and I'm sorry to cut off, but I just want to lose the point, that Adrian kind of mentioned already, right? Whatever you want to call it about coach, right? Whatever happened in the offseason between him, Edwards, and that football team happened, right? Charlie Offerdahl ended up being in the crosshairs. No, just call it what it is. He ended up being like in the crosshairs of a discussion about like competitiveness and all this bullshit, right? Like when this kid Dylan Edwards left, I don't know if y'all. I wish I could go find a video. Whatever Uncle Neely is the guy that he has on his staff. Some guys just don't want to compete. Some guys just don't want to compete.
I remember that.
That was the stuff we were criticizing. That there's someone on your staff shouldn't be doing that, bro.
It's a kid. Number one, it's a kid. But number two, you're taking portal kids who didn't want to compete. That was real shit.
That was the
running back you took from Ohio State did not want to stay there because they brought in Judkins.
Very much a hypocritical message that was being sent.
So it's like if we're just gonna keep it a buck, let's not grandstand. Let's just coach football, right? There's no reason that kid should have been made to seem like he wasn't. Dylan Edwards is a damn good football player at Kansas State right now, by the way. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason why him should have been in that position, and there's no reason why Charlie Offerdahl should have been made to seem like.
You mean the guy who sealed the game today? That's
Charlie Offerdahl's second best player of the season was giving the ball to Travis Hunter on a reverse.
He scored that touchdown today, though.
Terrence, that didn't seal the game. That game, yeah, that's right. The game was done, dog.
They put him up by
Utah was never in threat. Come on, stop.
Utah was never what?
It's just sad, man.
Come on, man.
Charlie got that tutty though. Hey, when I saw it happen, bro, I couldn't help but laugh, man.
They got a little Chuck out there scoring touchdown.
I think Travis Hunter was more happy for him than anything.
I want to talk some more about Deion because Deion said something about his recruiting philosophy that actually struck me. And I just want y'all's thoughts on it. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I don't know if it's sustainable or not. But he said something that was in an interview recently that was like, I kind of understand where he's going with this. So me being one of them, I know, Jer, we criticized like his high school recruiting last year. Like he flat out just didn't do it with the exception of Seton and like a few other guys. And he's also been notorious for saying like he's not doing in-home visits. Right. I'm not really going to talk too much about that. But Deion said, he said, why am I going to go sign a 20-plus recruiting class when I can focus on the 10 best players that I've evaluated, that I know is going to come in here and give me – and Seton's been way better than I thought he was going to be as a freshman. I will not deny that. He's even as light as – he's lighter than they are listing him. He's probably like 280, but he's playing pretty good football. Deion said, why am I going to go get 25 kids in the class? I can get 10 kids, but all 10 of those kids will contribute for me. And his freshmen have been doing that. So my thoughts on I want to know, what are y'all thoughts? Is that a sustainable practice?
It sound cool. It sound cool. It's not sustainable. But
he's,
did you expect Deion to be doing something sustainable?
He's gonna bringing 40 people in the portal. Like that's gonna happen.
Well, that's the other part to it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. He's saying in high school, I'm gonna get 10 guys that are gonna play now. The rest of my guys, I'm gonna get college ready players.
Some depth guys.
Can I? This is all I'm gonna say, right? And this is.
Did y'all see that interview that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about. He was going through the numbers. He was like,
yeah,
you're gonna lose X amount of percentage, and all these things are gonna happen, right? And if that's what he wants to hang his hat on, cool. But this is and Antoine, I'm going to tell you I disagree with that comment right there. Because what's the point of working in the Big 12 if you cannot win when you get to the playoffs, right? But that's a whole nother thing we could go into. But when you're looking at what he should be doing, and I've said this to you guys multiple times, Deion Sanders easily.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Jared?
That big ass house he got.
I'm stuck.
Oh,
I'm stuck. Am I back?
I hear you now.
You're back.
Cool. But
you're back,
easily, Deion Sanders, he's the biggest ticket in college football right now. Can we all agree on that point? Like no questions asked. He was
the biggest. He was the biggest ticket the moment he started. He was the biggest ticket when he was at Jackson State.
So
sure.
Yeah, he's the biggest ticket since he started coaching for sure. Yeah.
You have
how many? There's not too many coaches going to sell out a game. So
right.
So let's just start there, right? You're the hottest thing smoking in college football right now. You're the biggest celebrity by far. All the rappers at your games, everything. There's a couple of positions in football that matter more than anything else. We agree with that, right? And it would be quarterback, offensive tackle, now defensive end, and now cornerback. Those are the four most specialized positions in college football right now that are hard to get a hand on, right? Mm-hmm. The least you should be doing, Deion, is making sure that the best ones in the country are making sure that they know that you're like not just a priority to them, but you're doing everything you can to get them, right? So
let me read. Can I read?
I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I was about to rebuttal you, but you go ahead.
Go ahead.
You just said what I think I was about to go. Go ahead, Jared.
Go ahead. Oh, me? So no, my point is this: you have Julian Lewis, who's the kid that they're trying to flip from Southern Cal.
I think they got him.
Let's just say they got him. Okay, they got because I know they started recruiting another quarterback at Southern Cal. So let's say they got him. Great job, right? Who is Julian Lewis coming to Colorado to play with? Okay. Who
do you mean like skill position wise?
Yeah.
I mean, who's left over?
They're gonna find some like. Okay, so this is
what I don't agree with that though, Adrian.
Bro,
if I'm Deion Sanders, Jeremiah Smith would have had to tell me no.
Well,
I would have been at Jeremiah. I would have been at Jeremiah Smith game with Rick Ross and DJ Khaled.
I feel you.
Are you kidding me?
I hear you.
I feel what you're saying.
You can't sit here and tell me though, Adrian, real quick. You can't tell me that he's being honest and saying I'm just going to focus on the kids I evaluate. You saw Jeremiah Smith.
So here's my pushback with that. He probably didn't want to. This is sometimes what I wish Florida State would do. Stop wasting time on guys you know you're not going to get. Like, it sounds good. I'm going to go recruit Jeremiah Smith.
Sure.
But Jeremiah Smith was committed to Ohio State the entire process, and he really never wavered. Though I do think signing day, I think Miami was this close. Which is why he signed super late. Mm-hmm. I think Deion is targeting, like you say, well, who he's going to play with. Well, he's still got an offensive tackle that might be a future All-American in Seton. Maybe you do need two of them. But he's got one. And what I do think, if there's one thing, the portal, we can talk about where the portal is this or that. You can find skill position players in the portal. He's done it.
Okay.
Horn, the kid from Vanderbilt, like he's done that. I believe you can find skill position players routinely. You cannot bank on, like Florida State was trying to do, getting guys in the trenches constantly in the portal. You got to go to high school to get those guys, right? But I think skill position guys, you can get those guys. Go ahead.
Adrian, what I'm saying is this. Terrence, I'm sorry to jump back in, but this is just how this is. If you wanted to make his recruiting policy make sense, right? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna look at the top. I don't know. I'm gonna look at the top 5 kids in the country. I'm gonna find my top 5 at each one of those. Let's take receiver out of it because you're right. Receivers are a dime a dozen, right? Unless it's a Jeremiah Smith or a Ryan Williams,
right? Unless it's somebody special, but yeah.
Yeah, or you got Saquon Barkley out there at running back, right? So, okay, if I'm only going to take 10 kids anyway from high school, right, I need to make sure if I'm Deion that those 10 kids are kids at the position, right, that I know are hard to find in the sport.
Absolutely.
Because Okunlola and his running mate from Pittsburgh were a great addition to Colorado at the end, right? They were great. Neither of them are even, I would even say, top 50 guys nationally.
No.
Okay.
And if you go watch Pitt play, if you go watch Pitt, you'll see why they let the guy go.
They replaced him like it ain't nothing.
Yeah, you'll see why they let the guy go. Yeah, for sure.
So so the point being is, if I'm Deion, Terrence, I'll give you an example right there in Texas. Okay, Deion's been at Colorado for 2 years. Deion couldn't pull up to a Duncanville game.
He's not pulling up, but he says that he's not pulling up.
But I'm not
even saying I agree with it. It's just an interesting way that he's attacking recruiting. He's saying at this point, I'm selling a product and you're going to come to me. I'm not going to come to you.
But that's the problem, though, is that at the end of the day, even if he's not doing it,
I think he's the only one who can pull this off.
Staff should be doing it. I think somebody on his staff is doing it, Adrian, because you're looking at the man. I'm telling you right now, bro. I'm telling you right now. There's a kid, a quarterback at Ransom Everglades right now. You remember my boy Benny that hopped on the show a few times?
I need to get Benny back on here. All right, Benny good. Benny no ball.
Listen, Benny is Benny's little cousin, man. The kid's going to probably be a 5-star recruit in 3 years. He's 2027, 2028 class, right? Okay, this kid's at Ransom Everglades right now, right? Well, hear me out. Are you telling me right now if that freshman in high school saw Deion pull up to a game with Khaled and whoever just to watch him play that he wouldn't be locked in? Are you kidding me?
I think I agree with you. I agree with you. I think Deion's selling himself short to a degree. I understand that Deion thinks. I think Deion thinks I'm fucking Deion Sanders. Y'all gonna come to me. Here. And to a degree, I do think that is effective, but I also think he's selling himself short because, like Jerry's saying, man, pull up to one of these high schools with Quavo.
Come on now, bro.
Man, you'll lose it. You can probably get the whole team to commit right there. Like,
hey, what's the fat rapper out of Dallas? What's his name? The big fat dude. What's his name? The big dude with dread. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Hell, the only Texas rappers I'm like Zero and Slim Thug and them dudes. I know them guys.
Here you go, Big X, right? Big X.
I don't know how that is.
You telling me Deion can't pull up with Big X to Duncanville and shut that shit down? Like, and to your point, Adrian, he is selling himself short because what's going to happen? Deion has had a built-in, what you call a get out of jail free card. You know what that is? Great genetics and a son that can play quarterback, right? He better capitalize on it now because what if he doesn't hit on Julian Lewis? You know how quarterbacks go. What if Julian Lewis isn't good when he gets to college?
Sure.
Right? It's all that perfect timing shit sound good until you only got one of them. You know what I'm saying? So your boy Jimbo, remember he had that one class he took. Didn't he take Henry and Frank? No, Henry was it Henry and Francois in the same year?
We had a class. I don't think
No, it's
Malik Henry
it was
wasn't in that
three in
class, but
another.
we had a class where we took DeAndre
You took 3 in
Francois.
one class.
Yeah, we took 3. DeAndre Francois,
Francois.
the other
It was
DeAndre,
another DeAndre.
the other DeAndre. I forget his
Uh-huh.
last name.
Right?
I forget it
There
too.
were,
It was 3 of them.
But
I think
point
I think
is-
the other quarterback went to Maryland eventually, but he did recruit
So
3 or
but
something
the
like
point
that.
being,
Somebody in
Adrian,
chat probably knows.
the point being is Jimbo Fisher at the time is the quarterback guru in college football. There's no question at that time, right?
Yeah.
He had to get 3 guys and have 4 elite guys on the roster just to get one good one, right? Sarkisian got Arch Manning plus Quinn Ewers plus had another 5-star Murphy who he let go just to get one kind of good one. You get what I'm saying? So like Dion, like I wish he would really shut shit down the way he could, and not just selling himself short. He's selling us short.
Lockett.
I think
Lockett was
that-
the third one.
Hey, so quickly about that class, that 2015 class was a class y'all was talking about. It was first of all, in that class, Derwin James, Josh Sweat, and George Campbell were the 3 5-stars.
Well, you know, we used to recruit like a
great.
we used to recruit like a real program. I'm just saying.
Tavares McFadden, Jacquez Patrick, DeAndre Francois was
McFadden was a
quarterback.
bust, but
DeAndre Francois.
Jerg dropped off. He probably coming back. But
DeAndre Johnson. Yeah, it was nobody. It was those were the only 2. in that class.
Lockett. Lockett was the third one, but he eventually, because we had 2 other quarterbacks, he decommitted and went to Maryland.
That
Lockett was the
class
third
is
one.
ridiculous.
Of course, it's ridiculous. We used to recruit like a real program.
There's 1, 2.
And you said Josh
3.
Sweat.
Yeah.
Look at the
Sweat,
NFL,
Derwin,
look at the NFL career he's had. Nobody could have
Auden Tate was in that class.
Nobody would have predicted Josh Sweat to have the NFL.
AJ Westbrook went pro. Calvin Bruton went pro. Cole Minshaw did. Naquan Murray was in that class. Remember him?
You know, we used to recruit. We used to recruit like a real program.
Nice little class. Small.
Now we sign.
We signed somebody?
Well, not this class. Hell no. We just get decommits every week. And when we do sign somebody, it's the 500 ranked.
That offensive lineman say he ain't going nowhere, man. What was his name?
Who?
I don't know. He say, if you really want to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because since Jerg hopped off and I got you on here, we talk a little bit more Florida State stuff. By the way, Georgia just scored. Like I said, I don't trust Tennessee, so I think Georgia gonna pull this out. Well, there's a flag on the play, so I don't know what's going on with that. But all 3, so the top 3 lineman recruits all basically spoke out against the Alex Atkins firing. Solomon, Nash. Well, they say one thing about how I don't know if all 3 of them are gone. I think Solomon's gone. Matter of fact, I think Florida's going to end up flipping him. I think the Gators are going to get. I think the Gators are going to get Solomon Thomas. I think the Gators are going to flip him. Nash, he's from Mississippi. Ole Miss, here we come. Ole Miss, here we come. You might keep Peyton Joseph. I don't know. He's a guy that you flip from Florida. He might flip back to Florida at this point.
How you feel about that boy Carter Smith?
I mean, I was never super high on Trammell, so
okay. It's whoever we end up getting.
It almost feels like a Chris Parsons, Brock Glenn situation all over again. You lose one and get the other. Are either one of them really the goods? I don't know. I really don't know. So
Who knows?
I mean, you got to get a quarterback. At least you're going to sign a quarterback, which I think is a plus. But at the end of the day,
it's really a sad place that we're in, bro. Like, I'm trying to see if I can find out who that lineman was. It wasn't Solomon. Was it Nash?
All three of them spoke out about how I think the one you're talking about, that tweet you're talking about, is from Peyton Joseph, where he said, "Don't
Yeah,
flip later," or the people that decommit, y'all ain't real. No, he said something to that degree.
I mean, it kind of at this point, what does it end up leaving us at?
But like I said, all three of those guys have already spoken out against the Alex Atkins firing. I never expected Solomon Thomas to remain in this class, so for me, that is irrelevant.
It's just a sad day. It's just a sad day. 69360. I mean, but like as far as Florida State recruiting, man, I don't expect anything to improve.
No, not right now. It's not going to improve.
There's nothing we can do in season to improve it. There's nothing I think outside of hiring some great professional coordinators to come in and be coordinators for us. That's going to improve us on the recruiting side.
No, this class is dead. You can count this class. You can shove it in the box.
We'd be lucky to make top 50.
Bury it 10 feet deep. I don't know where it's going to finish, but it's dead. Everything that they're doing from here on out should be focused on, I hate to say it, but the portal and acquiring the best possible guys. And there will be talented guys that hit the transfer portal. That should be the focus. The best thing you can do in the recruiting situation right now is hope. And the pitch they should be pitching and recruiting is, don't sign early. Let us sign our coordinators. Let us get our new OC and our new DC. I want you to meet them and then make your decision on actual signing day. Don't do the early signing day. Wait till the actual signing day, and that's the best bet they can make. A lot of those guys want to sign early. They're not gonna wait. Some of them, they may wait. We'll end up.
So they were talking about in the chat. They asked, what if one of the Ohio State guys hit the portal? I'm assuming they mean either Nolan or Saying hit the portal.
Talk about the quarterback.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about that possibility?
I mean, like I was telling Jerg earlier, I don't know if you were listening. It all depends on who my offensive coordinator is. It's so hard for me to say, like the BC kid who's hit the portal recently.
Yeah, I don't want him.
I don't want him either. But a bunch of Florida State fans is like, we should have interest. And I'm like, you have zero idea what offense we're running next year.
Like we be out there running.
Why do we even want a kid that got benched at Boston College? But okay, depending on the offense, he could be an effective player. Don't get me wrong, but we have no clue. I really have to wait and see what we're running next year. What is our vision offensively? So I would love Air Nolan but
I think Saying or Nolan
they gotta fit what we're doing. And then I look at a guy like Saying and I go, are you better off taking him or developing Luke Crummerholt? I don't know. But what's the difference there?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's
what I'm saying.
If you ask me anything about next year, I have zero clue.
You have to wait till the hires. You got to see what the vision is, what they're trying to actually be offensively. Like I see Todd keep talking about Hartline, and I'm like, okay, I know why people want him. Hartline's never called a play in his life. So Hartline is going to come from Ohio State, where he doesn't call plays because Chip Kelly's there, to Florida State and not call plays because there's no way Mike Norvell's going to let him call plays. Like, that's not going to like Hartline's not a realistic option. It's just he's not. Unless you're telling me Mike Norvell's going to let him be full range offensive coordinator. And if Mike Norvell did that, I'd be concerned. I know the man can recruit his ass off, but there's no way I want Brian Hartline calling plays for me next year. I don't.
And you don't want Norvell doing it, so.
But he doesn't want Norvell doing it not because he's bad, right? But more so because he wants to see a change. Correct, Adrian?
I'm talking about Hartline. I don't want Hartline calling plays.
Yeah, we were talking about if Hartline came in.
If you hire Hartline, Norvell's calling plays next year. Which, again, I'm not necessarily against. I think Hartline's a hell of a recruiter, don't get me wrong.
But Adrian, Hartline only also recruits one position.
One position.
Right?
And that's receivers.
So you're not even getting like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, oh, man, Hartline, he got all these connections in South Florida, so South Florida's been buzzing. Like, no, he just finds elite receivers and convinces them to come to Ohio State, no matter where they at. You know?
Which ain't difficult. My thing is he's a great recruiter. Don't get me wrong, but he has that Ohio State logo behind them too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part about being able to recruit that position well.
There's a reason why There's a reason why. If you remember, before Kelly got there, Hartline was the OC. There's a reason why he got demoted, and they brought in Chip Kelly.
Goddamn.
Like all y'all keep talking about bringing a Hartline. I'm like, okay, that sound good. I get it. It sound good.
Real good, actually.
I will probably pass on that unless you can tell me you're getting Hartline and an actual offensive play caller. Mm-hmm. Like, now, I would love to add Hartline to the staff, but I don't know if I'm handing an entire offense off to him. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
That's a pretty penny to get Hartline away from Ohio State.
Listen, that's not happening. So it's just
no, it's not happening.
We just said that's people are throwing that out there. It was just addressing that. Like,
this is not the video game, gentlemen. You can't just hit. You know what I'm saying? It don't work like that.
Have you played NCAA 25? You can't get nobody. You can't get a job nowhere.
Coaching carousel's broken that game. It ain't like it used to be.
There's a lot of things they gotta fix.
But I appreciate the randomness of it. But like, let me not get selected for a job because my recruiting pipeline's in South Florida and you're in Oregon. You get what I'm saying? Like, I could understand if that was the logic driving some of it, or like if it was really about the offense that you're running or whatever. But it just don't be making sense to me, dog. It don't.
It don't make sense to me either. K. Bell's a popular name that I've heard a lot.
For OC?
Yeah.
Man said DeAndre Jordan. that wasn't his name, man.
DeAndre Johnson, but
Johnson,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I know.
I was like, DeAndre Jordan did what?
Hell no.
His big ass.
I'm not against Brendan Marion. I know what Jerk said earlier. I'm not against Marion. My whole philosophy is I don't know, and I'm listening to Jerk, and it's not that I disagree with you. I think Florida State needs to go get. If Mike Norvell's the head coach, you need to get head coach 1A on defense.
Bro,
like I need Will Muschamp on my defense, and Mike Norvell can only has focus on offense. Give me Marion for OC. They can all focus on offense, but if I got Will Muschamp on my defense, I'm not worried about nothing on that side of the ball. That's how
I want NFL guys.
Give me Muschamp.
I want NFL guys, man.
Adrian,
I've said this a million times. Guys don't come in from the NFL to be fooling with these 17, 16-year-old prima donnas. They not doing it.
Especially if you can't guarantee me the talent that I need to make my shit pop so I don't look like a jackass, right? Because that's what it comes down to with an NFL guy. The reason why them boys went to Bama is because they knew they were coaching at a blue chip ratio of 97.2%. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you better make sure that I got some dudes, and that's I think that might be kind of tough. Which is why I said I think it needs to be number one recruiter, but also guys that have some type of real college, like long-term college pedigree that could legitimize the staff. You know, that aren't Randy Shannon, by the way.
Hell no.
I'm about to say we got a DC that's a head coach. That was a former head coach.
Boy, I told y'all about Randy Shannon a long time ago.
Ain't nobody not believe. Everybody believed. We both believed you, bro.
Boy, I told y'all.
We didn't question what you said.
Time out. No one ever questioned.
No one doubted you.
Nobody.
Fair enough. Fair
We're
enough.
talking-
We knew exactly what we was getting.
We're talking about Randy for years right now.
That nigga Randy came through. Hey, watch this.
Said Muschamp not leaving the SEC. Muschamp is a off-field analyst at Georgia. You can't tell me you can't throw the bag at him and get him to leave. The man used to coach at Texas. He'll leave the SEC, bro.
Yep. Caleb Williams a diva. That's funny.
We talking about Caleb though?
No, he said Caleb Williams is a diva. That's funny.
Yeah, I seen it.
That's the first thing that popped up on the screen.
So Tennessee shit the bed.
Well, not yet.
They can't
That's still
score.
the third quarter.
Not yet. But
They-
like I said, I never trusted them to win this game.
This is what I need to happen today. I need Oregon to lose so we can call bullshit on the entire college football playoff process. Because if Oregon loses to damn
Wisconsin. Is
Wisconsin
that who it is?
on the road right now, I don't care how they looked. You better drop them 11 spots, or you better drop them 8 spots.
Why
You better.
11?
Okay, let's talk some playoff talk. Let's talk some playoff talk.
Have you seen what they're doing with the damn the damn rankings right now?
No.
I've never
We'll drop 11 spots.
Enlighten me, Mr. Henry. I'm curious.
listen. First of all, I already know where you're going, and I'm not going to feed it. This y'all are perfect.
Oh, whoa, no. I'm sorry. Miami dropped 11 spots.
Before we do anything, what happened to y'all last year on Twitter is the equivalent of the January 6th riots, and I'm not going to take part in any of that. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to take part. Okay? I'm not taking part in any of that. Y'all was trying to upset democracy out this month.
What do you mean?
You wild.
I
for that.
know. Y'all trying to upset democracy, dog. I ain't trying to do none of that, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking for accountability, bro, because this is what gets me off about the rankings, right? Notre Dame, granted, not right now, they're only 1 spot ahead of Miami. Okay. Notre Dame has the worst loss in college football this season by far, by any ranked team. Can we all agree on that? They got the
Who
worst
was
loss
that to
by
again?
far. Northern Illinois.
Yeah, that's pretty goddamn bad.
They lost at home to Northern Illinois, right? You have Ohio State is number 2 in the country because they have the best loss in the country, right? Which is weird, but they're number 2 in the country because of that. They lost to Oregon on the road, which again, and we were talking about that at the very beginning, right, Adrian? That is hard. Like conference play, I got to go 3,000 miles west. You know what I'm saying? In a place I've never been before. That's another thing, right? But then you got Texas. Who has Texas beat this year?
We also taught American history at Baltimore City College.
Right? Penn State. Penn State's best
You
win. But
What are you trying to get at? What are you trying to get at?
What I'm trying to say is, if you lose to Wisconsin, who I don't even know if they're a top 40 team, but I'm going to assume that they're not, you better be down there with Miami. You better be.
So pause real quick. You said who is Texas beating, and I felt some kind of way about that because I thought they had some good wins, and they did. They beat Michigan. Oh no, at the time,
Michigan's not really a good team this year.
well, at the time they was ranked 10 or whatever.
At the time they were ranked.
They got wins over Michigan, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. Those are probably their 3 best wins, and I guess that Georgia loss is what really defines them. But the other games, like they haven't played a. Go ahead.
Vanderbilt was legitimized, and mind you, it was a great win at Alabama. They had a great 3-game run. Didn't Vanderbilt lose to Georgia State this year?
Hey, they did. They
did, right?
Yeah.
We can check that right now.
Yeah, they did. Georgia State.
Okay.
You know,
so
I'm here.
But Adrian, all I'm saying is this: is that the college football, the playoff committee needs to establish a criteria soon, right? If the criteria is okay, you lost the game, so we got to knock you down, and kind of like the old AP poll used to work, where the timing of your loss mattered. Okay, fine. But so you went from 10-0 or whatever you're at right now, Oregon, to losing a game
Bro,
to Wisconsin
So
and Madison.
I'm sorry. You're just gonna like your gripes are falling on from me anyways. They're just
But
falling on
I
falling
know
Bro,
on
you're
y'all
deaf
saying-
ears.
fell 5 spots.
They're falling on deaf ears
Are we
because
talking about Miami right now?
yeah.
I know,
Y'all
Terrence,
fell
what
5
I'm saying
spots.
is,
You're-
Terrence, listen to what I'm saying.
Your
Listen to
gripes
what
are
I'm
falling
saying.
on deaf ears because, for one, it's a 12-team playoff. Y'all are gonna make the playoff as long as you win the ACC, right?
No, but that's the problem, Adrian.
You're
Adrian,
talking. Hold on.
Let's
What-
talk about-
Hold on. You're talking about having a criteria. They made up a criteria. We went undefeated, and the first time
agree.
ever I heard
And made
about
some shit up.
they made some shit up about
I
injuries
hear you.
play a part in the decision-making process.
I
Never
hear you.
before has injuries ever played a part
I
in
hear
the
you.
decision-making
I
process.
hear you.
But for
I
us,
hear
it did.
you.
So you're crying on deaf ears, bro.
I'm not crying though. I'm
I don't
saying
want to hear about
it's not even just
criteria.
about us.
And you need to make a
Time
criteria.
out, bro.
They do
I
need to
wanna
make a
ask something.
criteria. They
About
do.
us, though.
I want to ask
Time
something
out.
though.
Time out, Terrence. It's not even just about us. You just said it. Miami and the ACC has to win the ACC to get in because they've already pretty much said before anything has happened that only one ACC team is going to make it. SMU's only loss is to a top 10 program, and SMU's number 14 in the country. How? Right? So how can you say the SEC has to win out because of what?
All right. So the problem behind that is who's their best win? Louisville,
Who's Miami?
Don't matter.
SMU. But that's the thing.
Don't
Like,
matter.
Miami hasn't played that.
because it BY. No. Because right now what we got
Who
to
are
do
you
is
talking
put
about? Who are you
comparable
talking about? Who are you
programs and
talking
schedules.
SMU.
SMU.
Zay, it sound good, Zay. It sound good, Zay. 13-0 shouldn't have been left out either. But like I said, y'all Miami fans are crying on deaf ears right now.
Terrence,
I don't want to hear none
Terrence,
of it.
if you say their best wins Louisville, right?
Oh,
Louisville's a 4-loss team. Louisville's only 2 losses would be to what? A top 15 team and a top 10 team. That's their only loss. That's 2 of their 4 losses. Texas hasn't played the top 15 or top 10 team. Texas hasn't played anybody comparable. Call what it is.
Right.
Right?
I don't-
So I'm
I
just
don't-
saying is
I don't know.
you're looking at
Wait, Texas hasn't played anybody comparable. Who?
what I'm saying is if you're looking at SMU's schedule, right? You're looking at SMU's schedule, the quality of the schedule. You look at Texas's. The only game that you can give me for Texas that was tough was the Georgia game.
Bro,
They beat Vanderbilt. Hold on, beat
I ain't
Vanderbilt.
with you on that.
They beat Vanderbilt, and they look trash against Arkansas today.
SMU has played Nevada, Houston Christian, BYU is the best team they played and they lost. TCU,
SMU
Florida
played
State,
the mighty
Louisville,
Fort. SMU
Stanford,
played the
Duke,
mighty Noles.
and
Man.
Pitt. Come on, man.
And then SMU knocked off a ranked Pitt team, didn't they?
So that's their best win, Pitt.
Okay, but listen, did they knock off a ranked Pitt team that was
So
undefeated?
Pitt better than Michigan, Pitt better than everybody else.
Yes, this year, yes. Because what are you
I
measuring
hear
it
you
by?
on Michigan, but bro, like, no, man.
But what are you measuring it by? Are you telling me confidently right now Pitt can't beat Vanderbilt?
Possibly.
Okay, then. So who does Texas beat?
I think Pitt's a solid football team.
They're a solid football team. I'm not gonna put them in there and have them run.
You're justifying Texas. Who is then Texas beat?
But
Right?
for me, like you're saying, Pitt is better than everybody else on Texas's schedule.
I'm telling you right now. Let's go
So
through
Pitt
Texas
runs
Longhorns
Texas's
schedule right
schedule.
now.
Pitt goes undefeated
go
on
through-
Texas's schedule. That's what
Let's
you're
go
telling
through
me.
Texas. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm
But
telling
then
you
you're
that.
saying they're a better team.
First of all, I'm talking about SMU. That's number one. I'm talking about SMU. That's number one, right? Number two, I'm telling you that the point of this whole process is to stack a resume. This is a 12-team playoff. And the basis of this discussion is that they've determined 3-4 weeks before the season's over that this conference, actually 2 conferences, the Big 12 and the ACC, the only person that's going to get in from those conferences is the conference champion.
That's
Can we
determined.
acknowledge that as being true?
That's determined at the beginning of the year.
No, Adrian. I'm saying they're saying that no other team from those conferences are going to get in
Yeah.
at the way things stand today, right? Okay, because every conference, every Power Four is guaranteed one, right?
Mhm.
And what I'm saying is that you're looking at, in this case right now, you have Pitt, not Pitt, you have SMU and you have Miami on a collision course, right?
Yeah.
SMU and Miami can finish the season 11-1, play each other in the championship game, and one's going to be left out the playoff. They're going to
Yes.
be left off the playoff.
I
Miami
get
will
what
be
you're.
left off.
I get where you're going with this.
So if we lose to SMU,
And you're probably going to have at least 3 SEC teams in there.
with possible 3
4
losses.
Big 12 teams.
No, not 4 Big 12.
4 Big
No,
12?
Big 10, Big 10, Big 10.
Oh, I was like,
But this is what
What
I'm
about?
saying, bro. Terrence, this is all I'm saying is that they've told us in a 12-team playoff that allows more teams to get in, that more teams have a shot, that in 3 weeks before the season's over, okay, that either the ACC is going to have their championship get in and nobody else, and the Big 12 is going to have their champion get in and nobody else. And that's bullshit. You got to admit that that's bullshit. In a 12-team playoff, that's bullshit.
well,
They didn't even let anything play out yet. They're telling you this is what it's going to be.
so
Damn, that sound familiar.
this goes.
No.
Well, it
But
goes
they're
back
telling
to
you
what
what
I've
to do.
said before. If you want to eliminate that type of bias, you have to eliminate preseason rankings, and teams shouldn't even be ranked until week 5 or 6. Like
Damn, I feel like I said that plenty of times.
rankings shouldn't come out to like mid-season. And then we line them up, and based on resumes, now we ranking teams, because what happens is you get 5 SEC teams ranked in the top 5 in the top 10, and the other 4 or 5 are Big 10 teams, and so nobody really, you know what I'm saying? So that's why it's the way it is.
So let's go from here, right? I'm gonna go back to this SMU thing, okay? Just for sake of conversation, right?
Yep.
What would SMU look like had they played Texas' schedule? That's what you're saying, Terrence, right? Had they played that same schedule, okay? I'm going to tell you right now.
There's a chance they have the same record.
I'm going to tell you. I'm looking at the schedule right now.
They have
They
the same
beat
record.
Colorado State. They beat Colorado State. We agree on that. SMU beats Colorado State. Okay. The only question you're going to have right now is, does SMU beat Michigan? In hindsight, this is SMU on the road at Michigan. And in that game, they would have been starting Preston Stone. They wouldn't have been starting Jennings, right? Do they score more than the maybe 12 points you need to beat Michigan on the road? Okay, continue on. They're going to beat UTSA. They'll beat Louisiana Monroe. They beat Mississippi State. They'll beat Oklahoma. They would probably lose to Georgia. I would pick SMU over Vanderbilt. I would pick SMU over Florida. And I beat SMU over Arkansas. So where's putting hairs?
Mind you, I know we over here shitting on Michigan, right? And
I
that's
can't
cool.
really
That's fine.
guarantee them to beat Florida. And
Michigan can't score.
But Michigan's not a good team this year, bro.
I hear you. I understand that. But that's not pretending like they didn't lose to good teams. Their losses are to Oregon, Indiana, Illinois at the time was a ranked opponent, ranked 22.
Terrence,
I know
they put up 7 points against Illinois, Terrence.
I hear you. Okay.
Terrence, they put up 17 points against
I
bum
understand
Washington.
they can't score.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm saying you're telling me right now, let's look at Michigan's schedule.
This is the same inept offense that they had last year, but
let's okay, but it's obviously a different context because they're still giving.
I hear you. I agree with that. I agree with that. Michigan's not the same team. I get it.
Let's go to Michigan's schedule, right?
Who got TV?
I got SMU over Fresno State. I'm going to say they lose to Texas. I'm going to say they lose to Texas. SMU would beat Arkansas State. They would beat USC by more than 3 points, like Michigan did. They beat Minnesota. They beat Washington. They beat Illinois. They beat Michigan State. They probably lose to Oregon, and I would say that they beat Indiana.
Tennessee.
Those are my 2 cents on SMU. That's what the data will point to, right? So what this SMU team, the whole point is, okay, well, Miami goes to the ACC championship game and they lose SMU, they're out. For what? Why is a loss to SMU all of a sudden a condemning situation?
I hear you, bro, and I don't necessarily disagree with what you're trying to say. Basically, like there's a good chance Georgia at 2 losses, 2 conference losses at that. If they win tonight, probably makes the playoff. They won't make the SEC championship unless Ole Miss and Alabama both lose.
Sure.
But they'll probably still make the playoff.
I would also tell you I don't disagree with them going in at 2 games. Because again, at that point, you're looking at Georgia, right? And you say, okay, well, F you because you lost at number 5 Bama and you lost at number 16 Ole Miss. Now, granted, they didn't look good in the Ole Miss game. Can we all agree with that?
No, they got. I didn't expect Ole Miss to dominate. Yeah, Ole Miss dominated.
They got walked, right? But you got to give them credit. They're about to knock off Tennessee, who's been shutting down everybody. You know what I'm saying? And then they got 2 more games to close out the year. So a 2-loss Georgia team, they probably get in. My whole gripe is that, again, we were talking about initially Oregon, right? Oregon's playing Wisconsin right now, right? Oregon's playing Wisconsin right now. They're about to close that out. If Oregon was to lose to Wisconsin, what's the difference between any of these other teams having their 1 loss? They should be dropped down. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That would be an embarrassing loss for Oregon football. They should be damn near out of the top 10.
No, again, I don't disagree with you, but that's the whole point that I think Terrence might be making. I know that I'm making is I've heard this story before.
I'm not saying you haven't. I'm saying that
they don't value the ACC. They don't value it.
Right.
Though.
Fair. I'm just saying that the context this year is different because you have a multiple team playoff, right? And now you're a 12-team playoff, and you're saying that 2 conferences are basically only going to get 1 team in because I said
100%,
so.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what they do.
Throw the system away. Throw the system away.
Because there is no criteria for. Again, they make the criteria up as it goes. There's nothing set in stone. There's nothing set in stone about this. These are the check marks. The only thing set in stone is win the conference. Win the conference, you get guaranteed. Everything else is
that's this year.
yeah, and that's just this year. Everything else is if we think
last year you could not play in the conference championship and make the 14 playoffs somehow.
Right. So it's.
But hey,
look at this right now, bro. You got. And by the way, I think Indiana's probably one of the more underrated teams in the country. That's just me. 10-0 is not an accident. They play good football, right?
I think they play good football.
The teams, that's a whole nother thing, all right? But look at Indiana. So just because Indiana's number 3 and they've already rigged it, right? Or number 5. Indiana next week plays Ohio State. If Indiana loses that game by a touchdown, they're not going to move in the rankings. Do we agree with that? Like, they're not going to move.
They're going to drop, bro.
No, they're not.
And Indiana will drop,
bro.
But
Indiana drop. Will they drop all the way out? No.
Terrence,
but they would drop to at least 10th, bro.
Terrence,
it's fucking Indiana. They're not the blue bloods of that conference, bro. They're not going to get that same respect, bro. I'm sorry. Like
a one score loss to Ohio State. I believe it's on the road, right? So a one score loss at Ohio State. That's what I'm saying. Just throwing it out there, right?
Right.
On the road right now. I'm telling you right now, Indiana would be ranked higher than the only 1-loss teams that they're going to drop behind by that occur. Actually, no. I'm going to say they're still going to be ranked higher than Notre Dame, Miami, obviously Boise, and SMU. They're going to be ranked higher.
I think
in the college football playoff rankings, they're ranked number 5, right? So they're the 15. I got them dropping behind. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they drop behind Alabama.
Then you smoking.
Lost Alabama.
You smoking. You smoking because they've already set the precedent. They just
what's
said
the precedent? They're undefeated.
No, the precedent is Ohio State. You took a loss to a highly ranked Oregon team, and you're still number 2 in the country.
Okay,
Indiana should be number 2 in the country.
Then we have to play. We have to play the scheduled game again.
Okay.
Who is Indiana beat?
Nobody, but I will tell you this.
Okay, so they're going to drop. They have no wins to hold to hang their hat on. They have no wins or close. That close loss to Ohio State ain't a win, bro.
Okay,
like, it's not
so who did Ohio State
beat? Hang their hat on.
Let's do it.
Who did Ohio State beat?
No, hold on. Let's do it because we're kind of talking in circles. So we're gonna do it. 12-team playoff. Sure. Let's go. Sure. Me and Terrence kind of did this already last week, but now we got Jerg here. Plus, we got a better picture. ACC conference champion, and then who makes the college football playoff?
Miami and Miami. I'm biased.
Miami. No, okay, but who's in the conference championship? I know you're biased, but is it Miami and SMU? Okay, so I said this last week. I tend to actually agree. I think Miami and SMU is going to be a high scoring game.
Sure.
Like a 40-point apiece game, but I think ultimately I would take Cam Ward in a shootout against SMU. So, do you agree with that, Terrence?
I am going to differ on it. Y'all both got Miami, SMU. I think if a second team makes it, it's going to be the team that doesn't play in the ACC championship.
Which means you're saying Clemson could sneak in there because that's the only.
I say Clemson passes up some of the teams that are going to lose along the rest of this schedule. Like it's a possibility. So obviously, some of these SEC teams are about to lose. We know that for certain. And then we got Washington State, Louisville, Kansas State, Texas A&M. Like those are teams that I expect to lose that they can end up passing. And then once conference championship games are played, they then pass some more teams. And if SMU loses or Miami loses, they're one of the teams that gets left out. I think it's going to be, it's going to be Clemson because Clemson's not making that. We're saying Clemson doesn't make the ACC championship game at this point.
So
right?
you're picking Clemson as a clear winner versus South Carolina.
Yes.
So you want me to?
Okay, I wouldn't pick that. I wouldn't pick that as a clear winner.
I understand that. I mean, I think they beat South Carolina.
I don't know. South Carolina looks good, and I mean they got them at home. That's the only thing they got going for them.
That was actually my biggest thing is they're playing at home. Sure. I know, and it's a rivalry game as well. I think Clemson pulls that out. I think because South Carolina's not making the play. Well, that's another thing.
South Carolina could be shootout. They just
that's what I'm saying. Like, but it could be close, but that's their game. That's their play-in game for the playoffs for me. Clemson beating South Carolina pushes them up in the rankings to get into that final spot. Like they might be that number 11 seed.
So can I ask? So this goes. I'm sorry to get off. I'm going to derail this, and I'm sorry, Adrian. But here you go. So Clemson loses at home by double digits to Louisville. Why should South Carolina's win be the thing that gets them in?
I'm not saying that South Carolina does get in, but that's their chance.
No, I'm saying, but like if they did though, that so what we're saying is that Clemson doesn't go, right? They're a 2-loss team with one ranked win on the season versus South Carolina, right? And I think it's one of their only FPI top 40 wins if that happens, right? They get in because SMU or Miami loses to each other?
I don't think – all right, to be clear, I don't have South Carolina making it, win or lose. I said that's their chance.
No, but that's what I'm saying, like that. But that would just
chance.
That just doesn't make sense.
But I'm just saying that's their chance because teams are going to lose ahead of them. That's all, bro. Like I'm not saying they deserve it or anything like that. Teams are going to lose, and they're ranked 21 right now. And over 2 to 3 weeks, 9 spots ain't a big deal. You know, especially when teams are going to lose ahead of them. So, I mean, that's the only thing I'm saying. Like, so they end up as a 2-loss team. You know,
I can't see Clemson getting in unless some major upsets happen down the stretch.
I think some teams lose ahead of them. That's what it comes down to for me.
Can I just got to throw this one out. So we did ACC already, right? Adrian, you said you think Miami gets in with winning the league, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
SMU is going to be left out, right?
I think so.
So I just got to thinking about scenarios and teams that are going to lose, right? Big game coming up in 2 weeks. Texas A&M, Texas,
big game.
right? So
Shout out at
would we
Jerry's
not
work.
agree if both of those teams are 2 losses, which could easily happen here, right? Because Texas again doesn't look like world beater, and they got Texas at home. Okay, so Texas A&M got Texas at home for the first time in like 10 years. Let's say they beat Texas. They both have 2 losses. There's no way both of them make the playoffs.
Well, Texas A&M losses to South Carolina.
No, they both won't make the playoffs, and then
No, they both don't. No.
Texas A&M will play either Ole Miss or Bama in the ACC title game, right?
No, they will play.
God
Wouldn't it be
knows.
Georgia?
No, they're not going to play Georgia. They're not going to play Georgia.
We might need to hold off on that. That's a
You're
long
not.
conversation.
Georgia's not getting to the SEC title game because they lost to Bama and Ole Miss.
Okay.
So they can't because Bama and Ole Miss are automatic. Bama, first of all, is undefeated in the SEC.
No, they lost to Vandy.
Oh, you're right. You're right. They have 1 loss in the
They lost
SEC.
to Vandy. I'm sorry to go. Right? I just started thinking about.
No, they have 2 losses in the SEC, but they're all tied. Is my point. My point is Georgia, Bama, and Ole Miss. They all have 2 conference losses, but Ole Miss and Bama have the nod over Georgia because they beat Georgia head to head.
And Georgia about to close out Tennessee.
So there's no way Georgia can get in that game.
I do want to say this. There's another part to this. Miami's number 9 right now in the college playoff rankings. They're going to move up a couple of spots. Y'all still might end up being safe with a loss in the ACC.
I don't think this.
I just want to say that y'all are the one team that can still end up being safe.
So the seeding doesn't matter.
It don't matter the seeding.
Miami,
you get there.
It does.
Unless you're worried that you
want the home game.
You're going to be in the top 4.
But if you're worried about losing to, I'm saying theoretically you can lose the game to SMU, right? Assuming you win the last 2 games.
If you don't win the conference, then I don't have any.
But Terrence,
I get the argument trying to make. But if you lose to SMU, hey, I don't.
But again, hear me out real quick though. You talk about Miami's going to jump, Terrence, right? And this is where I'm going to disagree. Georgia just knocked off number 7, right?
You passed them.
They just knocked off number 7. No, they knocked off number 7, Tennessee. I would not be surprised if we Tuesday evening you see Georgia jump Miami, Notre Dame, and Alabama.
Oh, they probably will.
That's just the way they're working right now.
I think it's irrelevant though, but they probably will.
They do need to secure Georgia's spot in the playoff. You're right.
But then you have this cluster of 2 lost SEC teams now, because Georgia lost to Ole Miss and Bama. You really shouldn't put Georgia over either of them, right?
You can't. Well, I say you can't, but they've shown.
But you can't. You really should not. But then Tennessee beat Bama, right? Right. So you got the head-to-head. Tennessee beat Bama, who beat Georgia but lost to Georgia.
Right.
And did Tennessee play Ole Miss?
I don't think so.
I don't think they played Ole Miss. But that's just, again, I think that the rankings are going to matter because they're going to respect the fact that these 3 teams beat each other up so much that Miami could take a loss to a good SMU team who, by the way, would not have lost to Arkansas. I don't give a shit what anybody says. And they're not losing to Kentucky, okay? But they're going to be knocked potentially for losing to that team. SMU should be ranked ahead of them cats right now, but that's neither here nor there. You talk about teams beating each other up, though. Texas A&M versus Texas might be the most pivotal game on the map if we talking the rest of the year, because I feel like Notre Dame's pretty much done, right?
That is,
Notre
I
Dame.
think that is one of the biggest games on the schedule. I'm looking at next week. Wait, what's the next week? Let's see. Um,
Next week's big game is Ohio State and Indiana.
Ohio State, Indiana.
Yeah.
Oregon doesn't have another big game. Oregon
LSU and
season's
Texas A&M play, so somebody got to drop there.
LSU's done, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it. It jumped me back. I'm sorry. I apologize. It went back a week. I apologize. I went to look
Texas
at this
A&M
one.
already.
Texas A&M plays Auburn. Auburn's not any good, so Texas A&M should win that game.
Yeah, it's the Indiana Ohio State game. That's
We got
pretty
Penn
much it.
State, Minnesota. That could cause maybe some wrinkles there.
I would say my biggest issue with the playoff rankings right now is probably
Florida and
Penn
Ole
State.
Miss. Florida Ole
Keep it
Miss
above.
could be interesting. Though.
That should be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, people say that. Like I know you mentioned it. That Army Notre Dame game. I don't see nothing surprising happening there.
No.
But guess what? If Notre Dame
will go there.
to Army, watch them plummet. Watch them
They should
plummet.
plummet.
As they should.
Man, boy, I'm telling
It's
you,
Army.
y'all gonna see this committee get really irregular. Like these rankings,
I've already seen the committee get
Bro,
irregular.
like you're preaching to the choir, bro.
You're not saying anything, bro.
The fact that we're gonna have a 12-team playoff with 4 automatic bids, right? Plus the 5th from the Power 5, so that's 5 automatic bids, right? There's 7 teams left. 4 are going to be SEC. 3 are going to be Big Ten when it all shakes up. That's basically what they're setting up right now. But go ahead. My fault. This shit's just ugly to look at. It's really ugly to look at.
What you're talking about is what was talked about at the beginning of this. Everybody said, how many teams will the SEC get in? Because they're going to value those games more so than every other conference. Basically.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 3 or 4 teams from the SEC to begin with. I didn't expect the Big Ten to shape out like how it did because of how Indiana played, but Indiana would have probably just been replaced by Michigan, in my opinion, if it wasn't. That's so. Oregon, Ohio State, and Penn State aren't surprising.
I honestly feel like Oregon and Penn State and Texas right now are getting away with murder. That's just my opinion, right? That's just my opinion. Penn State
got away with murder last year.
Penn State out of the 3 though is probably the most egregious one on the list. Penn State's never going to beat anybody good. Like we've seen that. Didn't we talk about James Franklin last year, Adrian? Like
I feel like we talk about him every year.
Hey,
yeah, it's just not going to happen for you, bro. Let it go. You know what I'm saying?
I know this may be a little bit off topic and digging back into the past, but is there a team you would take the LSU champion, Michigan, over in the past 15 years of champions?
Say that again.
The Michigan championship team last year.
Okay. Where did
Let's
they
go back
rank?
15 years.
Where do they
15
rank?
years. Do they beat any of the past 15 champions?
Sure,
Can you think of one?
Probably beat some off the top of my head.
I got to go through a list.
Yeah, I have to see the list.
I don't mind pulling that up.
So they're not beating any of those. They're not beating those Georgia teams. I lied. No, because Georgia knocked them out of the playoffs one year. So no.
I'm about to say that's one of them Georgia teams beat them.
They would beat UCF in 2017 if we going.
Oh, come on, man. Don't be disrespectful, man. They ain't do nothing to you, bro.
My bad.
They did nothing to you. All right, so let's go. Michigan won. So past 2 Georgia teams. Do they beat either of them? No. Alabama in 2020. No. LSU in 2019.
The COVID year's a weird year, but
They would have had a shot. They would have had a shot against. You may not like this initially, but you know I love the guy. They would have had a shot against Cam Newton's Auburn squad. The only reason I say that, Cam Newton played a really bad national championship game. He did.
That's fair. That's
He
fair.
did. He played a very bad
I
game
hear
in
you.
the game. And what's their name? Oregon couldn't make him pay. You remember that game?
Yeah,
Oregon
no, I
just could
remember.
not make him pay. Yeah.
Yeah, Cam,
That's the only
Cam
one
wasn't
he would
the
have-
reason Auburn won that game.
Yeah, for sure.
He was
for
the
sure.
reason they got there, but not necessarily the reason why they won that game.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, he didn't play terrible though. Like, I mean,
No,
he
like,
didn't play
it
great, but
wasn't
he
like-
didn't play terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. He didn't play great, but he didn't play terrible.
No, what I'm
I
saying
mean, he
is
still ran for
Michigan-
60 yards and threw for 265 yards. Like,
But Michigan would have been good enough to make him pay in a way that Oregon was not. Oregon was outclassed physically from jump.
shit.
Be real. You can't
I
see
don't
Jim
know.
Harbaugh lining it up.
I'm gonna press pause on that because this is my thing. I don't think Michigan beats that Oregon team with what they had on that offense.
Oh, I disagree. I think that Oregon. I remember
That
Oregon being
offense
very
gets-
soft.
That offense gets yards and moves the ball against that Michigan team. And Michigan was a defensive team. I think Deron Thomas,
Which Oregon team?
Michael James, Ken John Barner, and them boys are going to run the ball definitively. They're going to run
That
the
Oregon
I
team.
think-
That Oregon team's got to block that front seven.
That's what I'm saying. They soft.
And
they
I
soft.
I don't know about that, bro.
They was
Oregon-
Terrence.
that
They was
Oregon
soft,
team's-
bro.
Yeah, that Oregon team's not blocking.
All right, so
Nick-
then it
Nick-
goes to all right. So you're saying no, they don't. They can't. That Oregon can't stand up to them or whatever. Okay, I hear you. And I think on defense is the one side that Oregon might struggle. But we're talking about that Oregon team who played against Auburn, who ran the ball 50 goddamn times. Auburn ran the ball 50
Kane,
times.
Zay,
in
you
that
sound.
championship.
I hate to say it, Zay, and this is off topic, but you sound dumb. This year is not indicative of anything that happened last year, dog. Stop
go.
saying stupid
There you
shit.
That's
Yeah.
see,
The committee got it right. No, they didn't get it right.
people like him give Broward County a bad name.
So if Miami doesn't make it, Zay, I want you to have that same energy. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I'm gonna say the committee got it right.
Got it right.
Zay, I approve of everything you just said, Zay. I'm right there with you, brother. Don't let them talk to you like
No,
that.
you don't. No, you don't. Stop.
Anyways,
fucking lying.
anyways, Terrence, go ahead.
I just think that team, like, and the other part is Michigan didn't play a guy like goddamn Cam Newton, bro. Like,
No, but Terrence, no, we talking about matchups.
I
I'm
hear
telling
you.
you right now.
so that's the team.
You said Auburn ran the ball 50 times.
50 times.
We saw Michigan beat Ohio State running the ball 24 times. Whatever they did in the half, they didn't throw the football. They didn't throw the football. Michigan would have ran that bitch 77 times. Are you kidding me? They would have never thrown the ball.
I'm just saying, they wasn't running up the middle on that team.
Oregon?
No, I'm talking about Auburn. Like, we're talking about Auburn in the Auburn versus
Okay,
Michigan
okay.
matchup. I still take
Okay.
Cam and Nick Fairley and them boys over.
What I'm saying, but what I said is, I think Auburn. I don't think they beat Auburn. I just think they had a shot to
Okay,
make Auburn pay.
I think they have a legit shot to beat Auburn.
and before that, it was Alabama, LSU.
Oregon could have made them pay. Oregon was not good enough defensively. Offensively, they were shell shocked. Michigan would have came out and played the game. But I also say this: I could have seen a Michael Penix Washington team spin the rock against that Auburn squad. I'm not saying they win, right? But I just think if we're talking about Michigan comparing,
I hear you. The matchup. Okay.
You know what I mean?
The matchup.
yeah, just the matchup thing.
I just feel like that Michigan
There you go.
So
Antonio.
team.
So what's some other teams in the last 15?
I think it was 3 teams last year in the NCAA that could have beat them in that championship game. 3 to 4 other teams.
Michigan?
Yeah.
Wasn't Texas.
Yeah.
So
Wasn't
who
Texas.
was it? Yeah, it wasn't Bama, obviously. Maybe Georgia, and that's just because Michigan plays the same style of football that Georgia, and Georgia just does it better.
I think Georgia beats them.
So maybe Georgia. Okay, that's
Healthy
fine.
Florida State beats them.
See, I can't. I would love to see it, and I think our defense was legit. But Michigan's defense was legit, and I don't know what our offense would have done.
And
How would we have scored points?
I think with a healthy
Well,
Jordan Travis.
Well, he's saying.
Well,
he's
obviously,
saying,
no.
I said I did leave the caveat of healthy in there. I apologize.
Okay,
So,
if Jordan Travis is healthy, okay, maybe okay, I can rock with that.
Sure.
But-
and then my third team that beats them. So we said, what did we say? We said Georgia.
You said Georgia and Florida State.
And who did they beat? They beat Washington and Texas, right?
Who Michigan?
They beat
Washington.
They beat Alabama, and then they beat Washington.
Huh? Maybe the two teams that could have beat them weren't in the playoffs there. I don't have Texas beating.
I don't know, bro. Michigan, you got to give them their respect, bro. They were solid.
I agree, especially defensively. Like I'm trying to.
I ain't give them shit.
Well, that's on you. You holding that Jim Hargrave budge till death. I respect you for it. I ain't gonna do it, but I respect you.
You give them signals and everything else. I ain't give them shit.
Tennessee came out here and got
I still don't. I gotta be honest with you. I still don't see the big deal with it.
It didn't matter. Okay, it didn't matter
because everybody does it. Like
I said the same thing.
Like it's just like with cheating. Like when people were like, "Oh man," again, this is part of my Miami experience as a fan. But we had scholarships taken from us in the '90s, and it's like, okay, y'all. Clearly, we just weren't doing it well enough, but y'all have been doing this for 50 years. Like, what's the big deal cheating to get players? Everybody does it. You know what I'm saying? So the sign stealing thing is like, I literally remember, Terrence, that same year, I'm watching, it was when Venables took over at Oklahoma, and they were like, we're going to be watching closely because Venables has a very sophisticated sign stealing operation. By the way, this is totally legal. Like they say it on TV, and it's like, oh, okay, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? And now look at Brett Venables that he can't steal signs. Isn't that a coincidence?
So I never watched that video that you told me. I've been meaning to go look at it, the Netflix thing.
You should go watch.
I've been meaning to, just haven't had a chance to.
I didn't watch it either.
Does it explain why he was on the sideline?
I mean, he denies it. He's still going through a court case.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing with Michigan where I go. That's
so
crazy. Having Buddy dressed up. So that wasn't him. Like having Buddy dressed up as assistant coaches on the sideline is that's bananas.
But this is what I'm gonna say, Adrian. This is all I'm gonna say. I can think of, if I really thought about it, a million other circumstances where you see somebody start doing something and they go a little bit too far. You know what I'm saying? Clearly this kid went a little bit too far. But the initial rolling out of it made it seem like this kid just woke up one day and was like, yo, I'm going to start stealing signs. You see what I'm saying? And that's not what happened. Like he literally says in the movie, bro, he's like, I'm in the Navy. He went to the Naval Academy specifically because he wanted to be a coach. And a ton of coaches come from the service academies. And he goes to the Naval Academy. He coached for that. You remember that Samoan head coach they had that ran the triple option? So he went to coach for that dude. And he went into his office. He was like, yo, I want to coach. What can I do? And the coach is like, yeah, I'm going to take you to the offensive coordinator. He's going to have you do something. And the offensive coordinator was like, I don't got nothing for you right now, but maybe you can steal signs from Ohio State during the game. He says it just like that. Like this shit is what they do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bro, I when I coached high school football, bro, we played a dumbass team. We played John I. Leonard High School, bro. This is the only team that had no coverage for their signs. And all I'm doing is charting plays for my coordinator, Coach Bully. He'll tell you right now. I'm charting plays for Coach Bully, and here comes this dumbass on the sideline. There's one person setting signs. All he's doing is this. He's doing this, he's doing this, and he's doing this, right? You know what the chomp was? Read option. You pick up on it after he does it 2 fucking times, right? All this is just formation. So what does Bully do? What does Bully do? As soon as it's read option, He goes like this. I said, bully, it's read option. 2 seconds later, weak side blitz, and they're calling out on the field. And how many yards did they rush for after that? 0. It's not my fault. You showed me the shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think they made it seem like this kid was just like.
No, I agree. They made it a little bit more. I do think the thing on the sideline, if that's ever confirmed,
That sideline.
If it's ever confirmed,
that it was a fake picture. What?
I don't know. If it's ever confirmed that he was on the sideline, like
it was
posing,
AI,
like posing as an assistant coach or something. I do think that is like crazy, but
yes,
it was AI.
Hey, all I'm saying is, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. He tried. He got it wrong. You know, one of the things they talk. I know we're way off topic, but they talk about it in the movie. Is that before he got to Michigan, Michigan had nearly no sign stealing operation whatsoever, like none, right? And there's a story out there that he perpetuates in the movie, which I don't know is true or not, but y'all would appreciate this. The reason they got tipped off the Connor Stallions is because a private investigation firm sent information to the NCAA about him, and that private investigation firm is owned by Ryan Day's brother.
Ryan Day. Right? Ryan Day started, and I haven't even watched the documentary, but we know Ryan Day started the whole fiasco with this because he's a bitch, and he can't beat Michigan. Bingo. And he's a crybaby. That's where this all stemmed from. 100%.
Bingo. So you can say
you gotta love it.
You know, but you can say what you want about the kid and all that shit. But there's obviously a reason why he was exposed, and it wasn't because everybody caught on to him. Ryan Day was mad he got beat at his own game. That's
Ryan Day said, "Fuck that shit. Y'all ain't gonna keep whooping my ass."
Shit, his job on the line. That's a nice job. You know what I'm saying? A little $10 million a year. You feel me? I gotta hold on to that.
Me just because I can't beat Michigan.
Yeah, nah, dog. I think what makes the Ryan Day stuff worse, bro, is that when you see Ohio State get beat in games, it's because they be taking the soul out of Ohio State, bro.
Speaking of which, who's to say Michigan doesn't beat Ohio State this year?
They're not.
Michigan's not good, bro.
They don't gotta be.
They can't score. And Ohio State's got this guy named Jeremiah Smith. Where's number 4?
Touche.
Just put the ball in his hands.
That's a bad man.
Just put the ball in his hands.
Is he a Heisman candidate in a couple years?
No.
Probably next year. No. Might be next year.
Next year? Not this year. No. I'm not talking about this year.
It might be next year.
That's a bad man. That's a grown man.
Whoever Jalen is, Dan Mullen likes to throw the football. He would never ever bring in Thomas.
Well, this combination is terrible, Jalen.
It is not fit. If it was the go-go with Brennan Carroll, I forget his name now. But if it was the go-go offense, you could bring in Castellanos for that. You can't bring him in to run a Dan Mullen. You can't do that.
Unfortunately, that won't work, sir. We appreciate it.
I'll say this. My only hope for the off season has been erased because I was really hoping DJ Lagway hit that transfer portal. But he's not going to now.
Lag the real one.
Lag the real one. That boy good.
Lag the real one.
Hey, boy.
I would a couple years.
I would have hit a Miami Collective so quick. Hey, I don't got a lot, but what you need? You know what I'm saying? What y'all need for your boy?
I got his bonus check.
Yeah. I'm gonna get him an NIL with some Gatorade bottles, not the whole Gatorade, but you know what I'm saying.
There's some bottles.
There's some bottles of Gatorade. Yeah. Come on, dog. That motherfucker's nice, boy. That motherfucker.
Sure, Smith ain't going nowhere.
Hold on, bro. We got off of Adrian's playoff talk.
Yeah, we were doing playoff talk. That's cool.
It happens. Are y'all drinking every day, man?
Huh?
Water.
What you say?
I'm on water.
Yeah, I got me a little something. Buchanan.
Okay.
Y'all want to hear my Jeremiah Smith pipe dream to get him to Miami?
Let's hear it.
So I need Ohio State to lose in the playoffs. I need Miami to make it to the national semis. And when we do that, we convince his high school quarterback, Cedric Bailey, who looks good, convince him to leave NC State. And then we bring in Jeremiah Smith on the biggest NIL deal ever. We're done.
Okay.
Out the door.
$5 million.
Okay. $5 million. That ain't the biggest. So what's that number?
The spot. I was talking about $5 million a year, but what's the biggest
If
one?
Jeremiah Smith hit the portal, what kind of money would he demand?
I beg your pardon.
I'd say north of 6. He's got to be 5 to 6 million.
I say NFL slot receiver money, like
And what is that?
A year.
He's not getting.
I'm joking there, but I say he gets $7 to $8 million like a year.
I'm being serious. Like what?
For 2 years?
What?
You put $15 million on the table. For 2 years of him, you put $15 million on the table.
I think 12. I think 12 for 2 years. I think 12 is a good number. And some property.
So
12 is some property.
Terrence thinks
do that.
about 7.
Where the property at?
Oh, we talk about Brickell. We talking about
Brickell. Okay, we talking about Brickell property. So now we at that 15. Now we at that $15 million.
Now we didn't give him the money, but we giving it to him. You get what I'm saying?
That's some property. Like we talking a condo, or we talking
See, this is
land.
a beautiful thing, right? Your boy Carson Beck, right? Just an example.
Whatever.
He got a Lambo, right? Carson Beck got a Lambo in Athens, Georgia. What you doing with a Lambo in Athens, Georgia?
Not
absolutely
a damn thing
nothing.
to get speed tickets.
Right? However, a Lambo looks really good on Miami Beach on Saturday nights. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, Jeremiah, we'll help you figure it out. Jeremiah will be the type of dude that's from South Florida and never go back to his neighborhood again after they pay him.
For what? For what? He'll see a whole other side. That's a whole other side of Miami.
Okay, we've talked so much about Florida State and some of these other stuff. Zay's in here, and he's Zay likes to talk foolishness, but I want to ask some Miami questions. Just for talking about Jeremiah Smith and stuff, I want to ask some Miami questions. All right, so we're talking about the playoffs. And I think the expectation right now is that Mario should make this playoff, and that's shout out to Mario for making the 12-team playoff. But what is your biggest worry when it comes to the Hurricanes?
From a coaching standpoint, there are times where the team, but where the team looks disinterested, right? And I would also say there's times where it seems like the coaching, especially on defense, is disengaged. When you watch the Georgia Tech game, I don't like the narrative. I think it's a really, really bad narrative. When people see rushing yards, oh man, Miami got bullied. No. Georgia Tech just set the edge. They set the edge all day. And all they did, that's not bullying to me. That's being out schemed. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know. I don't know how we're in week 10. Are we in week 10 or 11 in college football season? Mm-hmm. And we're not lining up properly to defend an obvious target point. You get what I'm saying? And even with all that said, like Georgia Tech ran for 275, right? We went by far our worst season on offense on third down. We went 3 for 10. I think we went like 1 for 4 or something like that on fourth down. And some of the fourth down passes, the misses just looked like everybody wasn't working, And I don't know how to quantify that, Adrian. Again, there's just times where it looks like the team wasn't really as focused as they should be. That's my whole thing, Georgia Tech, they scored 28. They scored 28, and we played like shit on offense, and we lost by 7. You know what I mean?
So do you have So you don't have any concerns.
No, I do. It's the fact that you do. I guess what I'm saying is I don't know if it's a coaching issue, especially defensively. I don't know if it's a motivation issue. So like considering the fact that I think Nick Saban said it on a College Game Day a while ago, talking about Miami. It's like it's really hard to coach a team that's still winning even when they're playing bad, right? Because no matter what you say to me, coach, look at we got the W. We still celebrating in the locker room, and I'm going to Prime 112 for dinner tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that shit's still happening. But I think if there was a time for Miami to lose, this was probably the week. You do it before a bye week, you recenter yourself, hopefully, and now you go make a run. You hopefully go make a run. You got like a 6-game run that you got to make right now. But I'd say tangible concern would be defense. Is Elijah Austin ever coming back? Is Barron going to heal up and get back to the way he was at the beginning of the year? Is Damari Brown going to make an appearance? We've been getting killed in the secondary. We need Damari Brown. I think number one, his weaknesses are showing big time, especially when they get him into space. So I want to see 32 and 31 out there. And the safety position is done. We're not going to have good safety play until next year. So that might probably be my biggest worry is what that back end looks like against Syracuse and Wake Forest.
And I'm sorry, I know I missed this, but really quickly, what did you say about the quarterback position?
For Miami?
Yeah.
I have no worries in the world.
For what position?
I think the quarterback position, you said?
I'm sorry, we still talking about this year. I apologize. I was trying to catch up. That's my bad. I thought we were talking about next year. Because you had said safety, like the safety position. I was like,
yeah, no. What I'm saying is with the safeties, like I've given up hope on that.
okay.
But there's just you when you playing safety, bro, is just so much about getting it. You know what I'm saying? Like understanding angles, understanding your keys, things like that. And our guys just aren't there yet. And that's like it's not cool, but it is what it is, right? Like Powell's a box safety that they got playing 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage because we don't got anybody that can play single high. You know what I'm saying? So I just hope we get Damari Brown back to kind of help cover some of that for now. But anyway, that would be my tangible concern, Adrian, is defense, particularly the second.
No, I think defense is legit. I think Zay saying Damari's shutdown is very premature. I don't know if he's played enough to be considered shutdown. I'm not saying he wouldn't be a addition to your secondary, but to call him like shutdown is premature.
Damari is much better based off what you see in practice or you've seen in practice. He's much better than all of his peers. So that's whatever you want to quantify that to, because your peers aren't that good right now. Just know he's that further ahead than the rest of the pack. But no, I wouldn't call him. Lockdown corner is the buddy from Michigan, Will Johnson. He's a guy. He's one of them. You know?
That boy good.
That boy real good. Man.
Well, you know, Zay, he's extra. He also said Mainoa was
hyperbole is the word.
He said Mainoa was like a top 15 pick or something. And I'm not talking about the tackle. I'm talking about the linebacker. That's what Zay said. He said he was like
linebackers ain't gonna go that high, bro. Like he
said he was the best linebacker in the country, and it wasn't close.
A top 15 linebacker has to be a transcendent talent to me.
Do you worry, Cam? Like, okay,
you need to be getting Luke Kuechly.
You know I love
or Patrick Willis to get the top 15 linebacker.
I love me some Cam Ward, but he always has that one play a game where I don't know what goes through his head at that moment. I mean, we've seen players like Cam Ward. I think you said it, Jerk. He's got some Jameis in him where he's just trying to make a play. He thinks he can make the play. So he'll roll right, throw back left, hop off one foot, and throw a moon ball because he thinks he can do it. Does that worry you in big games?
No, the only reason it doesn't worry me is because I wasn't in the chat with y'all during the Florida State game, Um, but I think we learned a lot more about Cam Ward than anybody would give him or us credit for in that game. Because I think just to go through the game again, we put up 36, whatever, right? Um, you guys are usually primarily a zone team, correct, Adrian? Y'all play man really well, but I
No,
see a lot of zone when I watch you
we
guys play.
defensively we are a man.
Okay, then
We
I'm
play
wrong.
We a trash team defensively. That's what the
uh,
fuck.
But
that
this
number
was the
one, but
first
no, we play
time.
more man.
This was the first time I think that we've seen a team legitimately line up with our defenders and dared us to do something about it. Our receivers weren't ready for it. Okay. And because our receivers weren't ready for it, you had one or two options for Cam Ward. Figure it out, which is force that bitch in there, or take what you can get until you get to the end zone.
Uh,
I think he did it. I think he literally just said he took himself out of the game and he kept chains moving against y'all. Right? It was not an explosive day, but clearly our receivers weren't getting separation either, which leads to that. My point being that is this, right?
go ahead.
Um, I don't
Say don't
think
lie.
any of I don't think any of those, like, I think we had one versus Cal, right, where he rolled left, threw back. It was almost a pick six.
No, I think he threw a pick six against Cal.
He had was it a pick six that it led to? I could be wrong.
Against Cal, it was a pick six.
It was
He
okay
had
against who was the last time he did it? Was it George? No, Duke. He had one against Duke,
did one
right?
against Duke where he did the
Sure.
same
I
thing.
just
The Georgia
I
Tech
have
game, he didn't have one of those, but he had one where if he should have just threw the ball away, that fumble where I felt like just get rid of the
yes,
ball, and he's just
yes.
back here trying to do stuff, and the fumble happens. So he has
And
those
so and that's
moments.
what I was going to say, right? This is what I was going to say is that I'm not so concerned about those interceptions as I am concerned about him checking down the ball when he needs to or throwing away when he needs to. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that, like, obviously the one interception ended up being a pick six. It affected the game, right? We were losing already, whatever. It seems like he got some bullshit out of his system. But what concerns me is that when you know the game's on the line, the way football works is not to hold the ball and wait for a play to happen. It's to get the ball. You can't go broke making a profit. You're a first or second down. You better get some yards so you can keep the drive going. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know if he's reached that level of, like, understanding yet, I guess is my whole point. Um, so yeah, I don't think it's the interception as much as it is, like, it's okay to be the Mark Bolger of college football, bro. Just check that bitch down, and eventually somebody gonna make a play for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not in him.
No, I'm just saying, but that's the next step of the maturation, right?
Because he feels like I'm that guy to make the play. Like that's who he thinks. Like that was Cam Newton's problem. But yeah. Well, usually Cam Newton was the guy to make the play, but yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta trust the talent around him.
I think at the end of the day he's gonna be all right. I think you can't play. I don't know. Actually, everybody's defense looks like they can give up yards this year, so who knows? But I think we're going to need him in a moment to be that check down guy, whether it be closing out a drive or just winning a game that way. And is it going to happen? I don't know, but I'm not concerned about the turnovers. I'm really not that concerned about the turnovers.
Let's see.
I usually we play a lot of cover 7.
Do you think Pat Payton comes back next season? I think I don't know, Terrence. Go take a swing at that, Terrence. What do you think?
It's probably what's best for him, but I don't think he does.
He has to.
I think it's what's best for him, but I don't think he does.
I think he has to.
What happens? I hear you.
I think he's lost a lot of money.
He's lost a lot of money, but I think he can get out there and test well enough to be a day 2 pick and sneak in that way. And if he comes back and he has another showing like this, then he has that drop. That he has a significant drop. I ain't gonna compare him to nobody.
Well, okay. So Pat's gonna have to stay. If there's no guarantee that he comes back to Florida State, regardless if he stays in college or not. The problem with Pat Payton is going to be Florida State paying him a lot of money. As a matter of fact, the two biggest NIL deals that Florida State had this offseason are Patrick Payton and DJ Uiagalelei. If he comes out of Florida State, he has to take a massive pay cut. You also got to wait and see who your defensive coordinator is. I have a hunch. I don't know this obviously for a fact that you're going to see a retirement of a certain guy this offseason. You're going to see how that defensive line looks and who's coaching that defensive line. A lot of things are going to go into Patrick Payton. I think he comes back to college. I'm not so sure it's in garnet and gold, though, if I'm being quite honest with you. If I'm Florida State, I would not want to lose him because you're not in a position to be losing defensive linemen right now. Go look at the roster. But he has to take a pay cut to stay at Florida State because that money's got to be invested elsewhere. And he quite frankly didn't live up to it this year. And not all of that is his fault.
Oh yeah.
For God's sakes, 9/11. Why won't you?
I mean, yeah, because unless Boots or somebody else makes a miraculous step up, he's probably the best thing we'll have. But I don't think he comes back to Florida State. Whether that's going pro or going somewhere else, I don't think he's in a Florida State uniform next year. That's just my opinion.
And that might be very likely. I don't necessarily disagree with that. It's probably very likely, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
So to answer my answer to the question is, he is not a Florida State Seminole next year.
I don't think he comes.
It's not because we don't want him. Shit, Jared, he might come calling.
Who?
He might.
Pat? Oh, he gonna come play for the Evil Empire? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't be surprised. Why not?
You gonna come back home, dog?
These kids don't have no loyalties like that, bro. No more. Let's be real, bro. Do they? Who?
I'm not even being. I'm gonna say this, and I'm not even being cocky when I say it. I don't know if we need them. I think they got money elsewhere already.
You might not need them.
Yeah, I don't know if we need.
You are losing. You're going to lose Mesidor, right?
Yeah, he's an interior guy. He's an interior tweener guy, right? You lose Mesidor, you lose Austin, who's just like a senior pick-me-up and Barron, but they're really high on Lightfoot. They're really, really high on Lightfoot. So,
hey, technically, couldn't our whole defensive line come back though? POLK?
Our defensive line?
All the starters are juniors.
I think so.
Farmer and DJ.
Farmer and Pat they were in the same recruiting class. I'm pretty sure.
So Farmer, Pat, Jones, and what about DJ? I think DJ's only a junior.
You might be right there.
Jackson has one more year left.
Yeah.
Okay. So
technically, they could all come back.
So I don't see Farmer coming back.
I think he's had a good enough year to go,
because
bro.
Farmer's played good enough individually.
Y'all think he's a pro?
Yeah, I think Farmer's played good enough individually that he can.
That he'll get drafted. Yeah,
he'll get drafted.
I'm talking like round 4 or 5.
I don't think there's any point of Farmer coming back. Jackson,
like round 4 or 5 is the highest he's gonna get anyway. Like,
Jackson might need to come back, but my guess is he follows Farmer. Because that's what they seem to do. Marvin Jones Jr. I mean, he has no choice but to come back. So.
You don't think he transfers out?
He could. I don't know what the benefit of learning. I don't know what the benefit is of learning your third defense in that many years. Does you? Sure. But he for sure could. Yeah, again, a lot of these decisions that we're talking about when it comes to these kids, It's going to be based on who FSU hires, man. FSU's got to figure out who they're hiring.
There are no right answers to anything about Florida State football right now. Like I'm so like I know that sounds like depressing or whatever you want to call it, but there's no right answer about
FSU has to figure out
who's on the sidelines.
They have to figure out if there's guys that this roster is going to look different. I said it before. They got to figure out who you want to keep, who you want to let go, and a lot of that's going to determine who you have calling these plays and all these things. And
like
what's the vision?
The coordinators are going to change.
What's the vision? I don't know what the vision is right now, so it's hard for me to say as far as Florida State goes, who comes, who stays, or anything like that.
Mm-mm-mm. So you I know obviously y'all had Earl Little come over, right? Is it I saw like smoke about him moving to safety. Is that true?
He's been playing safety.
He's already made that move.
Okay.
He's been playing.
I know he did. Yeah. Okay.
He looks way better at safety.
Looks great there.
In this defense, and again, that's why all of this stuff changes. For Adam Fuller, so I don't know if you followed Jamie Robinson that closely, Jared, but when they brought Jamie over from Arkansas or South Carolina, I'm sorry, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Jamie. I call him Jamie.
When he came over from South Carolina, they initially tried him at nickel, and it didn't work. He just didn't fit the part. They moved him to Earl Little seems to be following a very similar path, where he just looks more natural as a safety in this defense. That could completely change again, depending on who's calling this defense. But, yeah, he made the transition to safety, and I think he's looked great. I mean, he's still kind of young, so he still has his mistakes, but he just looks more natural playing that position.
You guys don't think Norvell has rubbed any of those transfers the wrong way? You think so?
Transfers, which ones?
I mean, look, you guys take a big batch, right? And I would say usually the thinking in that batch is, okay, this is a program that just won 13 games, so I'm going to come in, I'm going to ball out, this is going to be good. And it wasn't so good. Like, I guess, like, you don't think anybody's looking at him and his staff a little sideways right now?
Are you talking about on the team or just in general?
Yeah, on the team, like the transfers that you brought in. Like, do you think they all bought in like a Jaylen Brown, like who's going to be there for a while? You get what I'm saying? Guys like that. Do you think they bought in, or they're like,
I don't think it's a transfer necessary conversation. I think the transfers came in with the expectation of they believe in that process. I think where Norvell has lost maybe some of these kids are your Julian Armellas, your guys who have been here and for some reason can't seem to hit the field. I think those are the guys that probably got lost.
He's lost the high score.
I don't think your transfers are necessarily lost. I think they all came in with the expectation to play and compete because that's what was sold to him. But you've got guys that's been on this roster, specifically in the trenches, who can't seem to crack the rotation, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, go ahead, free up January 30th on your schedule.
January 30th. What is that? I might be in the school, so I don't know if I'll be free.
God dog.
I'm just waiting for that to get approved for me.
Senior Bowl.
Okay, it's the Senior Bowl
in Arlington.
Jim Leonard's probably not leaving the NFL to come back to college, guys.
I don't see why.
Terrence, you said January 30th?
Yeah, where you gonna be at?
You know, I gotta make trips down there every once in a while, so
you might well go ahead and schedule one.
We'll talk about it.
I got you. We'll talk about it in the chat. It's the East-West Shrine Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That's South Frank going.
Like I know we're gonna throw a lot of names out there this offseason. I think we just got to keep a realistic expectation of some of these names we're throwing out here. I'm not saying Jim Leonard's not an option. I'm not saying you can't give him a call, but when these guys make that transition to the NFL, there's a lot of things that it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back.
The NFL money and lifestyle is different.
Well, the money's probably not that much different. College is paying their coaches, but
Sure.
Not dealing with the bullshit that comes with college is the big difference, in my opinion.
Right.
Well, I don't have to follow around a 17-year-old like he's God's gift to the universe, right? I'm coaching grown men. They understand that this is a business and we get into work. Like a lot of coaches value that just the X's and O's part of it more so than, making this kid feel like he's, the greatest thing that's ever touched a football field, when in reality, he's just the next one up.
Yeah.
What evidence do you have that Norvell is a good coach? He has a losing record without Jordan Travis. Ouch.
I think that your shareholders.
Sounds about the truth.
Ouch.
Hey, I love A-Lo, bro. I love A-Lo, bro.
Sports icon just threw a haymaker. I don't have a rebuttal for that, my guy.
It ain't one. I've said this.
I don't have a rebuttal for that.
Mike Norvell didn't go 13-0 last year.
So
Jordan Travis did.
I'll try to rebuttal it from this standpoint. I will Mike Norvell from day one has had terrible QB evaluations. Like that's at this point, you can no longer argue that fact. Look at every QB that he has recruited or brought into this program.
Purdy.
From Chuba Purdy, Tate Rodemaker, Mackenzie Milton, AJ Duffy. Like, your hope is that Luke Kromenhoek or Brock Glenn turns into something, one of those two, because everything else that you brought in has been DJU. That's another guy that you brought in, by the way. Like, your QB evals have sucked.
He did everything not to start Jordan Travis.
And the only guy that only guy that saved him was JT. So
Jordan Travis won that man 23 games. Boy.
Can't really defend Mike on
21. I'm sorry.
It doesn't mean that Mike might not be a good coach. It just means that he needs to hand some of that shit over to someone else who knows what they're looking at. That's what I think about that. What quarterback has no? Okay, Sport Icons just spoke to that fact. Leonard has an off-field role in the NFL. He would come back to call plays again. Again, it's
he won't.
Wow.
It's just like, again, I think it's just wishful thinking. This isn't a Pat. So Pat Surtain had an off-field role in the NFL, but the difference was Pat also was a high school coach,
Right.
and so he obviously has that affinity for that group of player to coach, right? Like Pat didn't mind coming back to the college realm to coach those kids that he coached in.
I was going to say, and he coached a bunch of his kids. Right.
Right. And Jim Leonard doesn't have that connection. Yes, he coached in college before, but now he's back in the NFL. He wasn't some high school coach who's coming back to coach his kids. Like, that's not what he's doing. Again, I'm not saying you don't give him a call. I'm not saying he's not an option. I just think that's a tough sell to try to get a guy off.
We
of
got a better
NFL
chance to get Luke Kuechly to come coach. Like, that's my opinion. I don't think Leonard comes, bro. Like,
Zay, are you drinking tonight? Because you just say random off the wall stuff. Are you drinking?
But continue, y'all
like,
won this.
Right. Like, it's been 3 years.
Like,
congratulations. Like, what are we talking about? But okay.
Yeah, all right, PCB though, bro. Yes, we won 2 games, but let's not act like we had an offense in those games that we won.
It all hinges on Luke. Hold on, I'm gonna get to that comment. It all hinges on Luke. He's the highest rated player Mike has gotten. From the quarterback perspective, sure. But like, it does hinge on Luke, but man, it's just hard to get around. Like, you're playing, like, you recruited AJ Duffy. Why was he not the starter this year? You evaluated him. He was in the program for a couple years. Should have learned the system. Like that's the guy that should have took the reins after Jordan Travis. Even if Tate Rodemaker left, you still had AJ Duffy and Fo. You lost both of those. There's too much when it comes to quarterback situation. So, Travis was out the last few games. Yeah,
Bro,
I get what you're trying to say,
garbage,
but that team's carried.
Freaking football.
That team's carried by an elite defense. So
it was, but you still got to put points on the board. And Jordan Travis was the only reason we did.
Well, you were able to win those last couple games even without Jordan Travis. Was what he's trying to get at. But two games versus 2 games in 5 years. I mean, I don't know how you can try to sell that PCB. No, that doesn't.
By smoking PCP.
Right.
That's how, bro. Like, come on.
I don't know how you try to sell that.
Come on, man.
It's so wild how fans switched up on Trammell. I mean, Montre. Jerk, do you have a chance to watch Trammell Jones at all?
It's the kid who went to.
Well, he decommitted from us. He decommitted from us.
Oh no, the Mandarin kid.
He's gonna go to Florida. Yeah, Mandarin.
Yeah. I'm just curious if you watched him.
I haven't watched him. No.
Okay, so
what's up?
Honestly, Montre, that was first of all, that's a guy that we talked about in the summer flipping. Then you want to go back and watch the channel in the summer. I talked about him flipping to Florida then, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter. I was also never super high on Trammell Jones. He's an undersized quarterback. I'm not saying he won't be a good player, just not a guy that Bro, we lost every wide receiver in this class. We lost the number 1 edge in the class. I don't give a damn about Trammell Jones. Like, I could care less about Trammell Jones at this point. We've lost too many other players in this class for me to give a damn about a fringe 4/3-star quarterback. I don't care. Really don't care.
My dog got some backbone to him.
Who was he going to throw it to?
Who kept JT from switching from wide receiver? Norvell did that. Norvell developed JT.
Stop.
Sure. Well, you gotta go actually get the accurate part of the story. Kenny Dillingham talked JT from switching out.
Thank you.
Speaking of Kenny, I don't know if you're watching Arizona State this year, but maybe I was wrong about fucking Kenny Dillingham. Holy shit. Go check the facts of the story. Kenny Dillingham talked JT from switching.
Adrian, there's I want to say a video, but Nick Saban was talking about that on game day too. He's like, the second most important thing on in a program is your assistant coaches. The most important is the players, and you lose your assistant coaches, right? You start falling off, and if Dillingham was your guy that got you Travis and built up Travis, like, you get what I'm saying? And he's gone, and you don't have another Kenny Dillingham in house, and you have a problem. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's got to figure that out. You see Dabo Swinney suffering from it now. He had the best assistants for like 10 years in college football.
He did. Know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, and that's kind of what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
because Dabo didn't have a great start at Clemson.
Oh, no, not at all.
But like George just said, he got the best assistants in the country, bar none, and that thing turned around. And that's what kind of
for years.
I want Mike to go get the best assistants in the country.
Yeah.
And we'll see how that plays out. But I get you. Like, y'all are taking 2 games compared to a 5-year stretch. Like, yes, that was a team last year that won that. Yes, you won the ACC without Jordan Travis because you had an elite team.
Well, y'all cooking my grits right now.
But to just disregard years 1, 2, 3, now 5. Like 3 was Jordan Travis, so I won't count 3 and 4. But to disregard years 1, 2, and 5.
He's won how many games in those years? How many games?
And then
no.
And then
how many games does he win in those years? Has he won
those years 1, 2, How many years?
He hasn't
How
hit
many
double-digit
games
wins.
have Mike Norvell won in those 3
He
years?
hasn't hit double digits in 3 years.
To disregard that PCB is again that shows that you are a Mike Norvell fanboy. That's not even like we're not being objective here. You're legitimately not being objective.
3 of his years and say he hasn't won double-digit games.
3 of his 5 years is a losing record, and not only losing records, but
significantly,
significantly,
like almost 30 losses,
like bad. We're talking 1-9. We're talking Jacksonville State. And we're talking, the COVID year, which if you want to give that an asterisk, that's okay. We can talk to. I'm okay with giving COVID. No, I'm okay because
that year.
Well, I mean, Michigan was bad that year too, and that they went on a run after that. COVID was a weird year. COVID was a weird year, so a lot of teams had weird situations there.
Well, kiss my ass.
But there's definitely some fanboying going on here when you're talking about Mike Norvell, like.
Mike got here in 2021.
That's crazy, dog.
Mike got here when 2021.
Mike got here 2020. That 2020 was his first. COVID was his first year.
December 2019, y'all hired him.
Yeah, COVID was his first year.
1, 2, 3, 8.
He won 3 games that year, but again, that's a COVID year.
He has 9 wins.
He won 5. He won 5 games the following year, and now he's 1-9. So without Jordan Travis, he's won 9 games. Like I don't know how you can debate that.
Oh, I'm sorry. He won 11. Remember, he won the 2 games in the ACC championship.
He's won 11 games.
11.
And
not
again,
to mention, wait. Well, we can take away a couple of those games in 2021 because guess what? Jordan Travis played in those. 3 of the wins that they got, 3 of the wins in 2021, Jordan Travis was a leading passer. I'm sorry, all 5 of those wins in 2021, Jordan Travis was the leading passer in those games. So get the fuck out of here, bro.
No.
Stop it. Like, stop.
They're making Terrence mad. They're making Terrence mad.
We done gave this man so much credit. Like, for literally, it's been Jordan Travis the whole way. The games he won. Jordan Travis won those in 2021. He has less than 5 wins without Jordan Travis.
I mean, that's not a defendable stat. I'm not saying I definitely can't argue with it.
He's won in 5 years. He's won 5 games with a quarterback not named Jordan Travis starting.
This is great, man. This is good content, Alo. I didn't know any of this.
The defense last year was the players. I agree with that, Antoine. I think the players carried Adam Fuller last year.
Yeah, Burst and Fisk were amazing last year.
Like, I mean, it's not a coincidence that it's not a coincidence that they
running a pick play in the NFL, like, and nobody can stop it. Like, it's crazy.
Baby. Albany made, Western Michigan made, baby.
3, 5, 10, 13, down to 1. 3, 5, 10, 13, and then down to 1. That's crazy. That's insane. But man, we went 3 hours.
We might get 2.
Yeah, we'll probably get 2. I think we should get 2. But I don't know if y'all want to close out on anything before we get out of here.
Hey, I'll close out on something. I really had no fucking idea that his record was that bad without Jordan Travis. I had no fucking clue, and that's the best thing I've heard all year, right? Jordan Travis has now elevated himself in my book into Kenneth Walker III territory for most important transfers of all time. That's crazy as fuck, bro. Like, no, seriously though. Kenneth Walker got Mel Tucker 10 years, $100 million. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
Right? So he got Norvell a total of what? 80-something million so far?
He did. It seems like he did.
Hey boy, whenever Mike Norvell sees Jordan Travis,
Norvell's extension is due to Jordan Travis.
You treat that boy to dinner. You treat him to dinner.
Every time you see him.
What's your mortgage payment like, Jordan? What you need? You start a
What's
business
going
venture,
on?
what you need. All right. I'm gonna
He
give
owe that
10%.
man.
That's crazy. No, but that's crazy. That's crazy. To put it like that, bro, that's insane, bro. That's
What's Mike
insane.
Norvell?
That is insane, bro. I appreciate the content. I
That's
appreciate the
crazy.
content, man. Yeah, I appreciate the content,
That's
man.
crazy
But
to me. Like, cause and to be real, I did the math right there just then. Like, I did all that right there. Because Jordan Travis has the 10 wins and then the 11 wins, so that's 21. And then he won five or six games for him in that 1 year. Yeah,
that shit crazy, dog.
Well,
That
he's
shit
like
crazy.
5-26. He's like 6-26 without Jordan
What do
Travis, bro.
you? I guess the question, Adrian.
Like,
I really do think you should look at. Actually, don't look at it. I just wonder if Norvell was always this bad at the quarterback thing and nobody knew it. You know what I'm saying? I guess it's Memphis, so it really doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think it's hard to I think it's hard to gauge it because of Memphis and
Yeah.
um,
Damn. Good job,
bro,
Terrence. I've never been more proud of you in my life, boy. You know that? I'm proud of you, son. I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
so like I want to believe Mike can switch it around. I'm not very confident.
I don't. I don't.
I'm not very confident.
I
I want to
don't.
believe it though, and I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna root for it and I'm gonna hope it happens. But
Because you know what? Guess what? I admitted when he proved me wrong. Well, when Jordan Travis proved me wrong over the past couple of years, that hey, look, it looks like I stepped up and said, hey, you know what? We winning. And I gave him credit, right?
Nah, say
Oh,
fuck that.
Halo,
Fuck that,
I
dog.
did, right?
Yeah.
But the underlying facts right now, and I say facts, ain't no opinions here, ain't no. The facts are showing he just got blessed with a quarterback who happened to be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks to ever step on a football field for Florida State.
You know who
wait,
else does
what?
that
What?
background?
What did you say? What did you just say? You say
I
he's on the
said
top
that,
4 or 5 quarterbacks to ever step on the field for Florida State.
yeah.
God damn,
The numbers don't say that.
I mean, the numbers say it because he played 6 years, so the numbers definitely say that. He
Ooh.
played off and on for like 6 years.
Who you taking over?
Well, for the big three are definitely taking
Big
over
three,
him.
yeah.
I'm not getting into that conversation right now because we can go on and
Oh,
on
okay,
about that.
okay.
But I
Yeah.
mean, you might be right. You might be
I
right.
said 4 or 5. I'm
Yeah,
giving
you might
room
be
for
right.
one to be
You might
thrown
be
in
right.
there, but
You might be
I'm
right.
not taking EJ or Christian over him, and they were first round picks. I'm not taking Kendra. I'm not taking Busby. I'm not taking. Who we
You
talking
might be
about now?
right.
Baby girl, go sit down.
Okay. All right. We
It's
out of
about
here.
that time. Yep, it's about that time.
It's
We
about
out of
that
here.
time.
He cut it off. It's about that time.
Ebody had just walked up. Just so happened my camera right here too, but Ebody had walked up behind me too.
Who's winning the ACC? PCB? No, you tell me.
Everybody has Miami winning.
It's gonna be between SMU and Miami, so
It's probably gonna be Miami.
we'll see what happens. But yep, 3 hours. I'm starting to feel it myself, so
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna get on up out of here.
I see you in a couple weeks, but I know we'll probably be talking next weekend. So, all I got to say, man, I'm gonna just close my little close down. Like, I don't hate this guy, Mike Norvell, man, but at this point, I'm not drunk at all.
I mean,
Actually,
I don't
like,
think anybody
there's nothing wrong with what I said. Like, Mike Norvell
I
has
don't think.
only won this many games without a guy who's won this many games as his
I
quarterback.
think there's a crazy amount of allegiance to Norvell for some weird reason. I don't know. I get it, man. The man won a lot of games last year, but y'all,
Yeah, tell me stay off my dick. How about that? I'm talking about
y'all,
what the fuck?
like there's nothing that's been
It's
said
the
about
truth,
Norvell
bro.
that isn't fact. There's like
You don't want to hear the truth,
Todd.
like
I
he ain't
like
won
the
no game, bro.
I like the pitch. When you sent me the picture, I gave it a like. I gave it a thumbs up or something like that. I saw
Like, you've been a coach for 5 years for this team, and you got 7 wins. You're averaging 1-something wins without that guy. Admittedly, we had great defenses in
So
last year and whatever. But
like I said,
at the end of the day,
I want to see him turn it around. I just don't know. I just don't know if he can. Nothing that's been said about Norvell is inaccurate. It's all factual in terms of the numbers.
I'm sorry if I hurt somebody's feelings tonight.
So I don't. Maybe he's saying that because you said Jordan Travis was top 5, and again, that's definitely arguable. I'm not saying he's not. I just off the top of my head, it's a conversation. It's conversation to be had. Because I definitely think I would take Jordan probably over EJ too. So,
man, you taking him over EJ? I mean, yeah, we'll talk.
Yeah, we can have a conversation about it for sure.
But at the end of the day, I mean, from a win standpoint, Jordan Travis has meant more to Mike Norvell than Mike Norvell has meant.
But Mike has a lot to prove, and this offseason he has a lot to prove, and
it's a lot, man.
I planned on talking about stuff other than this because
we always get dragged into it, man.
It's depressing. It's depressing to talk about this nonsense.
And everybody like, oh, you mad? He did. I mean, yeah. Florida State football has been my life as a fan. Like, my life as a fan has been tied to Florida State football for as long as I can freaking remember football.
Well, most of us have never experienced anything like this.
A 1-9 season. Like,
that's nothing any of us have ever
experienced. If you're not mad about what we're seeing on the football field and from this team, then maybe being a football fan you're not a competitive person, bro. You're not a competitive person. You don't have that spirit in you. If you're not upset by what you see from Florida State football right now, you don't really care about Florida State football. It's just a hobby.
I won't say they won't. I'm saying
that. You ain't gotta say.
I don't say they don't care. I think we also get caught up in. There's a lot of new fans that don't know. I meet people all the time that, and it's not their fault. They're young. And they don't, all they know is 2013 and beyond that. And if you're just judging 2013 to now, majority of that shit hasn't been good. So that's their standard.
Yeah, they
didn't see what a lot of us grew up with. They saw a really good team early on and a bad team basically from what? 2017 on.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. Hey, Poe, that weekend for Thanksgiving, is that the Gator game?
I don't think so. I think the Gator game, I don't know.
The 27th, yeah.
Is it? Usually it is Thanksgiving weekend or somewhere around there, but I don't know if it falls on that this weekend. So next weekend, so it's the 30th.
The 30th?
Yeah. And Thanksgiving's on the 20th.
Who knows? Maybe if Pope want to buy the Gator, I'll smoke it. He gonna be up here that weekend.
I mean, we can eat it. It ain't like we gonna beat him, but we can definitely eat it. I mean, I'm down to eat some Gator.
Who knows,
sure.
Man? We might. We'll see, man. But at the end of the day, man.
Basically, Antoine, if you didn't grow up watching that team, if you don't know who that guy is on the wall behind me, if you don't know some of these other guys.
It's a bad man.
What you're watching is the standard that you're accustomed to. But 1-9 is fireable. Now they've tied a lot of money up into that guy, so they're not going to fire him. But
mind you, we've also only seen most of those fans have seen 3 coaches, and we've only seen 4.
That's my point. Like
so,
just a few years ago, I had only ever seen 2 coaches at this university in my lifetime.
So,
and now here we are. We're on 4, the verge of 5.
Jimbo was weird to us.
Right. We're on the verge of 5. So it's like
Mickey Andrews was a defensive coordinator for 20 plus years.
Yeah, we'll see.
We had the same DC for 20 years. Like, I don't know what else to tell you, bro. This isn't what we're used to. But at the end of the day, man, I got passionate about that only because, man, I'm a Florida State fan, bro. And I don't. This isn't acceptable. And you got to recognize when sometimes it is players and sometimes it's the coaches. And we just had to happen.
UM is
Happened to
third in
have.
ACC rankings. Who are they behind? They're only behind SMU. PCB, no. They had the tiebreaker against Clemson, if that's who you're alluding to, because Clemson lost to Louisville and
He
Miami
just want
beat
to be heard
Louisville.
right now at this point. I think he just want to be heard.
Our closest surface vessel is the Navy minesweeper.
Ron Simmons, you don't know who Ron? He's the first Black world heavyweight champion.
2 hours from that.
Oh my God!
You don't know who Farouk is? Zay? Come on, man.
He know who Farouk is, bro. Don't sit here and be disrespectful, bro.
Okay, so Ron Simmons is Farouk, but in WCW is where Ron Simmons started off, and he was the
Wayne
first
Johnson
ever.
got his career from like he got how he modeled his career from.
Yeah, Ron Simmons is the first ever Black world heavyweight champion, and he won that in WCW as far as wrestling. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we got a whole offseason to talk about this junk.
Man, it was a pleasure. I know I hopped on a little bit late, man. Y'all take it easy. Another week without a loss. That's great. Can't complain.
Another week without a loss.
Y'all be safe out there. Go Noles, man.
Go Noles. All right, bro. Have a good night.
All right, I'm gonna take it easy.
Yep. And to the rest of y'all, do the same. Have a good night. I'm going to get up out of here. We went pretty long tonight, so y'all have a good night. And expect a healthy off season. That's all I can say. As always, it's your boy POLK over on 863 TV. Stay